Chapter 272. When Diwu Qingro saw this IOU, his expression became very interesting. Diwu Qingro was already prepared to make a move on Heaven-Reaching Tower and capture people from Heaven-Reaching Tower. He would have to pay a certain price to Jun Shizhu. Otherwise, he would not be able to negotiate. However, Diwu Qingro believed that if he could capture King of Hell Chu, it would be worth it even if it was 100 million. But he could not capture him. Secondly, if he could not be captured, then the price of 1 million was too high. After mobilizing so many people, he did not even get a single strand of hair. Moreover, he was humiliated. And he still had to pay 1 million? Thirdly, what made Diwu Qingro the most unhappy was that even if it was 1 million, then so be it. But why write an IOU? With the status of a king-level leader of Golden Horse Riders Department, how could he not pay? What was even more excessive was that he had signed his name as Diwu Qingro. Very good. Prime Minister Diwu gently clenched his teeth. Then he exclaimed in admiration, I didn't expect that king-level expert Jing would have the ability to lead the Golden Horse Riders Department. Moreover, you're a king-level expert in martial arts. Moreover, your calligraphy skills are also very high. Looking at these few words, they were really strong and majestic. Even writing an IOU could be so imposing. You are a talent. Jing Menghun's head hung low in front of his chest. At this moment, king-level leader Jing felt that he did not have the face to see anyone. Very good. Very good. Diwu Qingro took a deep breath and felt the anger in his heart rising. How many years had it been since he could not suppress this feeling? I asked you to capture someone, and all you did was bring back an IOU? Diwu Qingro's chest heaved up and down. His voice was still flat, but his eyes suddenly shot out a light. Forgive me, Prime Minister. Jing Menghun lowered his head. Diwu Qingro snorted heavily. He finally vented his anger. Or it could be said that he had successfully controlled his anger. Let me take a look at this letter and see what it says. Diwu Qingro took the envelope and closed his eyes. He took a deep breath and kept his emotions in a tranquil state. This might be a letter written by his greatest enemy. No matter what the contents of the letter were, it was worth taking seriously. When you're impatient, you can't look. Then, he opened his eyes and looked at the letter. To Prime Minister Diwu. Chu Yang pays his respects. Diwu Qingro softly read it out loud. He even used his hand to gently pat his thigh. It seemed as if he was appreciating it. These are 10 words. The entire handwriting is very heavy, but every single word has a dangerous and precipitous aura. It's like a sword that pierces into the sky. Diwu Qingro insipidly said, judging a person by his appearance, this person is an offensive character. Han Bu-chu came forward and looked at it. He frowned and said, Prime Minister, although these words are steep and dangerous, they are full of steadiness. Furthermore, it's extremely strict. It's not all about attacking. That's right. This is a person who can attack or retreat. Careful thinking. Diwu Qingro said, but looking at his strokes, there is a hidden sharpness to them. This person likes to use dangerous tactics. Yes. Diwu Qingro looked at these words for a while and said, it was done in one go without showing any impatience. It shouldn't be fake. Plus, there was plenty of time to prepare. In other words, when I met them, he immediately prepared to retreat. King-level leader Jing's futile efforts were not without reason. A few hours had already passed. Then he opened the envelope and took out the letter inside. It was a beautiful semi-cursive hand. Brother Diwu Junjian, I have often heard of your heroic name, but regretted not meeting you. I did not hesitate to travel thousands of miles from Iron Cloud to Great Zhao to meet you. Over the years, I have been thousands of miles away from you. We have both won and lost, but I am even more fascinated by you. Brother Diwu Jun's heroic appearance, meticulous planning and strategizing. You have decided victory from thousands of miles away. You are my role model. Thousands of miles of ice and frost, a journey of wind and snow. Finally, I met Brother Diwu Jun a few days ago. It is enough to comfort my life. Brother Diwu Jun has the pearl of wisdom. You have the wisdom to make a unique guess about my origin. I admire you very much. As the saying goes, knowing someone by their reputation is not as good as meeting them in person. But I say that meeting is even better than knowing someone by their reputation. The matters of Great Jiao have come to an end. I left in a hurry, terrified. If I was one step late, I am afraid I would have been imprisoned. I left in a hurry, but the feelings are long. Great Jiao's magnificence and beauty, and Great Jiao's magnificence are all in my heart. In the future, I will drink with you and get drunk. The heroes of the world are only Brother Diwu Jun and me. In the future, when I am on the battlefield, I will remember Brother Diwu Jun's kindness today. I will remember to repay you. I am young and have been nicknamed King of Hell. I am terrified. I only hope that in this life, I will not let down Brother Diwu Jun's head. Only then will I live up to the name of King of Hell. We have parted for thousands of miles. When we meet again, it is already the end of the yellow flower. I will see you again when I become a prisoner. You do not have to send me off. Great Jiao is in ruins. Please forgive me. Everyone has their own master. I am in Jianghu. Those who walk different paths cannot work together. Only life and death. Respectfully, Brother Chu Yang. That was all there was to the letter. When Diwu Qingro read the letter, his face was full of smiles. His voice was unprecedentedly clear. When he read it aloud, his voice shook the small courtyard. What an arrogant king of Hell Chu! The veins on Jing Menghun's forehead bulged. He punched his own thigh and gritted his teeth. Han Bu Chu frowned. Cheng Yun he pondered. Gao Sheng looked pensive. What do you think of this letter? Diwu Qingro finally finished reading and looked at everyone with a smile. Prime Minister, this letter may not have been written by King of Hell Chu. Han Bu Chu said cautiously. I also think that King of Hell Chu should not have written this letter. Cheng Yun he furrowed his brows and said this after thinking for a long time. Oh! Diwu Qingro's smile did not diminish. Let him go. King of Hell Chu came here to cause trouble and cause chaos in Great Jiao. His goal has been achieved. Han Bu Chu said softly, then, with King of Hell Chu's clean character, he should not have written such a shallow letter. Yes, after the event, it was full of schadenfreude. It was also full of hostility. It was as if two armies were facing off against each other. Cheng Yun he said, King of Hell Chu should not have been so shallow. As for the handwriting, it should be a trap. Han Bu Chu said, Prime Minister, please take a look. The handwriting on the inside of the envelope is the same as the one on the outside, but there is a slight difference. The outside is too smooth, but the inside is too difficult. Even though it strives to express the meaning of flowing water, but from beginning to end, it is as if two armies are facing off against each other, and it is very tense. King of Hell Chu would not be so impatient. Cheng Yun he concluded. If you think this way, you are wrong. Diwu Qingro said casually, if you think this way, you will fall into another trap of King of Hell Chu. Trap? Han Bu Chu opened his eyes wide. This letter was indeed written by King of Hell Chu. Diwu Qingro held up the thin piece of paper and said with a firm and unquestionable tone. Han Bu Chu and Cheng Yun he were stunned. I know what you are thinking. Diwu Qingro said, first, there is another earthquake in Iron Cloud's officialdom. Plus, the high officials that were captured this time were those that were not discovered before. Their methods are similar. Second, King of Hell Chu used a thunderous method to quell the rumors in Iron Cloud in just a few days. He did not hesitate to kill thousands of people. These two matters are heavily colored by King of Hell Chu. Therefore, you are beginning to suspect that King of Hell Chu did not even come to Great Jiao. Diwu Qingro said casually. Yes, we are thinking this way. Han Bu Chu frowned. But this way of thinking is wrong. Diwu Qingro snorted heavily. How did Iron Cloud's movements come so quickly this time? In such a timely manner? If the real King of Hell Chu was an Iron Cloud, he would not have handled it like this. With his usual methods, he would have cast a long line to catch a big fish. He would have made us think that our rumors were effective, and then he would continue to kill our people. He could have done it. But he did not do it. Why? This is a powerful move, and I have already planned how to deal with it. But they did not use it. They gave it up on their own just to let us know. This is clearly because they are afraid that the Real King of Hell Chu would have an accident in Great Jiao, so they deliberately released a smokescreen. This letter purposely uses an arrogant tone to provoke us and make us think that the real King of Hell Chu is not in Great Jiao. Moreover, when we think about it, the first thing that arises is that King of Hell Chu is still in Iron Cloud. The second is that King of Hell Chu came, but he has already left. Diwu Qingro sneered, when you have these two thoughts, you will be dragged by the nose by King of Hell Chu in the future. Until you are dragged into a dead end, you will not know that the person dragging you along is actually him. If it were you instead of me who was sitting here to preside over the overall situation, then I would announce that even if you were in Great Jiao, you would have been completely defeated by King of Hell Chu, and would have turned into ice-cold corpses. Diwu Qingro's voice was stern. Han Bu Chu, Xing Yunan, and the others were sweating like rain. Even if it was me, even if I saw through his plan, before catching King of Hell Chu, I could only do my best to minimize losses. It is impossible to completely avoid losses. Send this letter to my bedroom. Diwu Qingro said softly, I want to carefully study King of Hell Chu's handwriting. You should know that this is the only handwriting of King of Hell Chu that has ever been circulated outside. For us, this 100-something is priceless. Golden Horse Riders Department, continue to organize the evacuation. Evacuate some important things first. Chapter 273. Order Gao Shangjuan, Yan Qinghuan, and Wu Yongjun to lead the three armies to attack Limitless Sword God. We must attack Limitless Nation before summer arrives. Even if we cannot destroy it, we must at least tortoise them. The cold light in Diwu Qingro's eyes became deeper and deeper. Yes. Although Limitless Nation was in the middle of winter, it was not a hindrance to the army. In fact, it was even warmer than the north where flowers bloomed in spring. Every year during winter, the north would rest for the war to start in the south. When the north could start the war, the south would be so hot that it would heat up if they moved, but this time's dispatch was clearly different from the past. Han Bu Chu and Xing Yun He's breathing became heavier. They realized that Diwu Qingro's order this time revealed a purpose. Next summer, the decisive battle with Iron Cloud would begin. And this battle would decide who would be the ruler of the world. When summer arrives, Limitless Nation can only tortoise them. This sentence contained too much information. Prime Minister Diwu was finally going to make his move. After a series of responses, Diwu Qingro suddenly became silent. After a long time, he finally sighed. If you want to fight outside, you must first settle inside. King of Hell Chu, I will let you take advantage of me first. Then he immediately said, Qingyun manner, try to keep a low profile. Let the royalists gather and expose them. Put them on the list. If they can live peacefully with us, then that is fine. If not, Diwu Qingro smiled deeply. His eyes suddenly shot out a sharp murderous intent. This murderous intent was so strong that it made Jing Meng Hun, an old butcher who had killed countless people, feel his hair stand on end. And now, King of Hell Chu was with his brother. In an inn, the bearded Chu Yang and Gu Duxing looked like two ordinary Jianghu men. Recently, there were too many people like this in Continent City. Gu Duxing was holding his sword and carefully comprehending the sword intent. And King of Hell Chu was lying on his bed. Lying on the bed, motionless, he seemed to have fallen asleep. Even in Gu Duxing's eyes, Chu Yang was already in deep sleep. However, no one knew that King of Hell Chu was inspecting his harvest from his trip to the Great Zhao's imperial palace. He was drooling as he tidied up his tribulation space. What a great harvest! What a great harvest! Chu Yang looked at the iron frames in the tribulation space and danced with joy. Don't move! Don't touch it yet! Chu Yang pounced over and firmly hugged a piece of metal that was emitting seven-colored starlight. However, the sword tip of the tribulation sword circled around him. Finally, it chose an angle and successfully drilled in. Hiss hiss. In the blink of an eye, there was only a fist-sized piece of seven-colored iron left in Chu Yang's hand. What I say doesn't count. Chu Yang was furious. The sword spirit appeared in a flash and sighed, "Just let it suck. It has been starving for more than 10,000 years. Besides, this is for your own good." Chu Yang was stunned. However, he immediately jumped up and picked up a black piece of steel that was the size of a human head. It was shining with a dark light and said, "I will allow the others, but this piece must be used by the tribulation sword after I use it." Nightmare steel? The sword spirit had no choice but to greet the sword point. The sword point flew over and reluctantly circled around the nightmare steel a few times. Chu Yang's heart was suddenly filled with the eagerness of a child who wanted to eat candy but couldn't eat it. For a moment, his heart almost softened. However, he finally held back and said resolutely, "This is of great use. I must use it now. After I use it, there should be more than half left. At that time, you can suck it however you want. I don't care if you suck it into dregs, but you must keep it for me now." Seeing that Chu Yang was so determined, the sword point could only give up. "Hey, has the heavy pill formed yet?" Chu Yang remembered that in the Great Zhao's imperial palace, there were only 2 large warehouses filled with precious medicinal herbs. Now, they were completely empty. Obviously, they had been absorbed by the tribulation sword. If it was an ordinary pill, a heavy pill that can revive the dead, there are already 3 of them now. The sword spirit said unhurriedly, "Although there are many medicinal herbs in the Great Zhao's imperial palace, there are no treasures that belong to the category of great elixirs. Therefore, the materials for a heavy pill that can really cure any injury are still insufficient." The sword spirit said slowly, "Only the catalyst is missing. Any kind of great elixir will be able to complete the heavy pill." "Then, can this ordinary heavy pill treat Mo Qingwu's injury?" Chu Yang asked. The sword spirit answered very straightforwardly, almost making Chu Yang faint. "With such a huge amount of elixirs, it can't even form a heavy pill? Can 100,000 pounds of grass become a Lingji mushroom?" The sword spirit asked disdainfully. Chu Yang was speechless. Piles of gold and silver were decreasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. If these gold and silver were thrown out, it would be enough to equip an army of 5 million people. But now, they were all turned into dust by the tribulation sword point. Finally, the tribulation sword spirit stopped. The sword spirit smiled with relief and said, "Gold and silver can basically be declared. From now on, there is no need." Chu Yang's eyes widened. Looking at the small gold and 2 silver ingots left from the mountain-like pile of gold and silver, his hands and feet trembled for a while, and he asked in a trembling voice, "The other metals? Do they also need this much?" Cough cough. "It should be more or less." The sword spirit also seemed to feel embarrassed. He coughed twice and said, "There are also some things other than metals. For example, medicine, souls, flesh and blood." Chu Yang fell to the ground and roared in agony, "Kill me!" Suddenly, tears poured out like a fountain. "They all say that he is a prodigal and a prodigal. This is directly a prodigal. No, this is a prodigal continent. Cough cough, a continent. I'm afraid it's not enough." The sword spirit said reservedly. Chu Yang finally broke down. After the tribulation sword swallowed a large amount of resources, the sword tip in his dantian had already turned pale gold. And the sword tip had also turned into a silver color mixed with pale gold, sparkling. Chu Yang was very worried. If this went on, would his stomach become a luminous object like a lamp in the dark night? Chu Yang's worry did not become a reality. In fact, only he could see the tribulation sword in his dantian. Of course, among so many things stolen, there were many things that the tribulation sword didn't need. Naturally, the leftover trash after the tribulation sword chose became the benefits of the tribulation sword master, King of Helchu. This included several divine weapons that had already taken shape, a large number of famous calligraphy and paintings, many martial arts manuals, and many works of art. There were also hundreds of erotic pictures. Looking at the dazzling array of erotic pictures in different poses, King of Helchu was stunned. "I can't take it anymore," so King of Helchu came out with a whoosh. Gu Duxing was comprehending the sword intent when he saw Boss Chu sit up straight from the bed like a zombie. He couldn't help but be shocked. Duxing, there are a few books you need to read. Chu Yang touched under his butt and a few books with yellowed pages appeared in his hands. They were obviously old books. What books? Gu Duxing was very strange. It was enough to cultivate the sword. Why did he need to read books? Besides, when did you hide so many books under your butt? Why didn't I see them? Taking a look, his hands trembled. On sword cultivation. Sword energy nourishes my thoughts. On the 5 realms of sword, sword of the king, sword of killing, sword of sentiments, Gu Duxing read one book after another. The light in his eyes became more and more violent, and his hands trembled more and more. The authors of these books didn't necessarily have a high cultivation level, but they were filled with wonderful ideas. Moreover, they were all the painstaking efforts of their predecessors. One of them was actually the last realization of a sword scholar before his death. These books were condensed from the lives and time of countless predecessors. For Gu Duxing's current sword cultivation, it was tantamount to pointing out a bright path. Perhaps after he became a sword king, these books would not be of much use to him. But the current Gu Duxing was most in need of these things. Where did these come from? Gu Duxing clenched these books tightly, his face flushed red. It doesn't matter where they came from, as long as there is something to read. Chu Yang said lazily, coming to Great Zhao once, you should at least have some harvest. This harvest is really not small. Gu Duxing hurriedly took a few breaths. Chu Yang smiled in his heart, really not small? This is nothing. I even prepared a set for GMO, Dong Wushang, Luo Kudi, Miao Butong and the others. Besides, there is also the entire treasury of the Great Zhao Palace. There are many good things. In this matter, Chu Yang's only dissatisfaction was that there was still no way to treat Mo Qing Wu's injury. However, there was finally a ray of hope. He only lacked the catalyst. He only needed a rare treasure like a rare herb and the heavy pill would be formed immediately. This news was quite comforting to Chu Yang. Besides, having 3 more heavy pills was equivalent to having 3 more lives. Whether it was his own or his brother's, it was a guarantee. Gu Duxing practiced his sword even more desperately. First, the Gu brothers died. Even though it was not his doing, it was Chu Yang's doing. Gu Duxing felt that this was no different from him doing it himself. Since it was his brother's doing, he had to shoulder it. Moreover, Chu Yang's main purpose in doing this was for himself. If not for him, no matter what happened to Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu, what did it have to do with Chu Yang? Why did Chu Yang have to personally take the risk to kill the two? Therefore, Gu Duxing was waiting to shoulder this responsibility. Even though he did not say it, Gu Duxing would never shirk his responsibility. The Gu brothers died, and the Gu clan would soon summon him back. At that time, what should he do? Also, Chu Yang had created such a convenient cultivation environment for him. If he did not advance quickly, who would he be worthy of? Sister Xiao Miao, would she come out early? If she came out and found out that one of her brothers had died an unnatural death, even if they were not on good terms, would she be upset? It was nighttime again. This city was destined to not be peaceful. Finally, on this night, it was the most tragic night in history. A sword light, like the dark moon of the netherworld, faced the bright moon in the sky and shot up to the sky. Moonlight Sword. Chapter 274. The moon was bright and the stars were sparse. The brilliance of the waning moon was still as bright as ever in this pitch-black night. The hazy brilliance was still as dreamy as ever. After the previous fierce competition, no matter who it was, they were both physically and mentally exhausted. At this moment, everything was quiet. Many Jianghu people knew that they had no hope after the big clans participated in the competition and retreated one after another. As for the juniors of Ask the Heavens Sword and Underworld Saber, no one knew when they had disappeared without a trace, but in this tranquil place, a thunderous shout suddenly sounded out of nowhere, "Leave behind the Moonlight Sword before you go." Immediately after, a breathtaking sword light soared into the sky. A person leaped through the roof at lightning speed and fled at lightning speed. Behind him was another person who was also chasing after him with his sword light. Suddenly, one person chased after the other and disappeared into the distance. Compared to the appearance of the sunlight saber, the appearance of the moonlight sword was even more unexpected. But no matter how unexpected it was, an expert was always an expert. In the heaven-reaching tower, a loud shout was heard and a few people's silhouettes flew high in the sky with a brilliant pressure. They turned in the air and chased after him. Immediately, the entire heaven-reaching tower boiled over as one figure after another broke through the windows and chased after him like lightning. Sunlight Saber had already fallen into Ao Xieyun's hands, so the moonlight sword became even more important. Whether it was Mo Tianyun or the other elders, they were all burning with excitement and somewhat nervous. If Ao Xieyun had both the saber and the sword, once he obtained the secret, the strength of the Ao clan would far surpass them. This was a life-and-death crisis. As for Ao Xieyun, he was naturally even more anxious. Sunlight Saber was already in his hands and he was looking forward to the moonlight sword all day long. Once it appeared, how could he not go all out? The first person to discover and chase after him was a member of the Ao clan. The sword light went all the way to the west. Along the way, there were people who jumped out to block it, but the person holding the moonlight sword did not stop and continued to rush forward. The sky was filled with bursts of bloody light. This person was much more vicious and merciless than the owner of Sunlight Saber. Those who block the road will die. He had used his actions to prove these words. He did not even need to say a word to let people clearly understand what he wanted to say. As the pursuers got closer and closer, the sword light suddenly stopped and fell down. Then he disappeared without a trace. The king-level experts looked all around. Some of them jumped high in the sky to look around, but they didn't find anything. Could he have escaped? Just as he was thinking about this, the sword light appeared again. It was about 1,000 feet in front of him, and it dashed swiftly against the wind. Everyone's spirits were lifted and they chased after him again. This time, his goal was clear. There was a small hill in front of them. At the foot of the hill was a rather shabby-looking military camp. This unit had been stationed here for quite some time. The military flag was a little tattered. Even those who saw it would only think that it was an ordinary military camp. Only a few people knew that this was the headquarters of the Golden Horse Riders Department. The barracks were only a distraction. Everything under this small hill had already been emptied. In fact, the vastness of the underground space far exceeded that of the surface by several times. The invincible and undefeatable Golden Horse Riders Department was here. Dong Wuxiang dashed forward with his sword in hand, and Luo Kadi chased after him relentlessly. It was as if they couldn't live under the same sky as each other. Bang 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 bang, they fought fiercely in front of the barracks. "Brother, let me live, and I will repay you in the future." Dong Wuxiang roared with grief and indignation. "Less nonsense, I only want the sword in your hand." Luo Kadi was wearing a black mask, and his face was covered with frost. "You really don't want it?" "Absolutely not. You are forcing me." "So what if I force you?" "Wah, I'm so angry." "Awurwu, hand it over." Both of them mustered up their courage and roared at the top of their lungs with all their might. Their voices were completely devoid of any substance. Luo Kadi praised in his heart while fighting. "Damn it, you really can't judge a book by its cover. Dong Wuxiang, this guy looks like a taciturn gourd, but I didn't expect him to be so good at acting." The shadows of people flew in the distance. The first group of people arrived. Without saying anything, they rushed into the battle and grabbed the moonlight sword with their fingers like an eagle's claw. Dong Wuxiang was furious. He brandished his sword. That person snorted and blood flashed as his fingers were cut. But Dong Wuxiang's chest felt as if it had been hit by a sledgehammer. Blood spurted out from his mouth and nose as he staggered back. If not for the divine sword's sharpness, the sword would have flown out of his hand. The shadows of people appeared in the distance one by one, rushing over like meteors. In the sky, the glorious crown was also gradually gathered. Almost all the people had arrived. Everyone formed a circle, trapping Dong Wuxiang inside. Mo Tianyun stood at the front, his eyes flashing. Seeing that it was going to be a fierce battle, he was determined to get the moonlight sword. Ao Xie stood with his hands clasped behind his back, looking confident and at ease. If there was another martial arts competition, it would be meaningless. With Ao Xie strength, he could still come out on top. But what should he do this time? Are you all here to snatch the moonlight sword? Dong Wuxiang stood with his sword in his hand, looking at the people around him with grief and indignation. Xie Dan Qiong sighed and said, "Warrior, you can see the current situation. You won't be able to protect it by relying on your own strength. So, it would be better if you honestly hand it over. That way, you can still keep your life." Hand it over? Hand it over to whom? Dong Wuxiang sneered. Xie Dan Qiong was suddenly at a loss for words. Yes, even if the other party handed it over, who would he hand it over to in front of these people? Who wouldn't want it? Or rather, who would dare to take it if he showed off? The scene of Imo Tianyun obtaining the sunlight saber flashed in front of everyone's eyes, and they could not help but hesitate. The first person to obtain the moonlight sword, no matter who it was, would absolutely not be able to keep it. He would only become everyone's target and consume his strength. It was precisely because of such misgivings that everyone did not make a move at this moment without prior agreement. What's wrong? Is it hard to decide? Dong Wuxiang sneered in a strange voice. I have a proposal, what do you think? What proposal? You people first fight. Those who should be killed will be killed, and those who should be eliminated will be eliminated. Only one person is left alive, and I will hand over the moonlight sword to him. How about it? Bullshit. Everyone was angry. Do you really think we are all fools? What should we do? Stand here in a deadlock? Dong Wuxiang waved his sword and asked coldly. Looking at the black-clothed masked man in the field, Dong Wu Lei suddenly felt a sense of familiarity. It was a kind of sudden and wonderful feeling, as if this person was very familiar and close to him. He could not help but ask, "Who are you?" Dong Wuxiang snorted and said, "Since you are here to snatch the sword, why ask who I am? No matter what, let's take it first." Li Xiong too roared and took the lead to rush forward. Dong Wuxiang looked up to the sky and laughed, "Come on." Unexpectedly, he did not evade, but rushed forward with his sword in hand. It was a head-on clash. Li Xiong too was known for his extraordinary strength in the three heavens, but this time, he suddenly felt as if he had hit a mountain. His opponent's figure seemed to be only a little more than 50 kilograms, but the collision force at this moment was almost several thousand kilograms. It was as solid as an ice-cold iron block. Li Xiong too screamed loudly and flew out with blood spurting out of his mouth. 2 ribs in his chest were broken, and he cursed angrily before he landed on the ground. Fuck! Who the fuck are you? Why are you so heavy? Li Xiong too had collided with a bison in the past, but he had not suffered such a serious injury. Such a fact was hard for him to accept. Even if he had been defeated, it would not have been as shocking as this. Dong Wuxiang also retreated 5 steps, and coldly snorted without replying. Li Xiong too had only looked at his figure, but he would never have thought that the unremarkable saber on the back of this black-clothed masked man in front of him was actually 570 kilograms. If the weight of the saber was added, it would not be much different even if it was less than 400 kilograms. Li Xiong too was caught off guard by such a weight, and the opponent's cultivation was almost the same as his. How could he not immediately suffer a big loss? Everyone's expression became even more cautious. Forget it, forget it. Dong Wuxiang looked at the splendid crown on his head, and suddenly shook his head dispiritedly. I thought that after obtaining this moonlight sword, I would be able to concentrate on refining and be invincible in Jianghu. But I never thought that such a great treasure would not be something that I could possess. He let out a long sigh, and said in a desolate tone, Sword, ah sword, don't tell me that I am not fated to be with you? The sadness in these few words was overflowing with words and expressions. Everyone's heart was moved. The next moment, second young Master Dong suddenly looked up to the sky and roared, But if I can't get it, don't think that you can get it easily. Suddenly, he let out a long roar, and straightly jumped up. This jump was more than 10 feet high, and under the bright moonlight, the moonlight sword was shining brightly, as if it had merged with the bright moon in the sky. Nobody knew what he was doing by jumping up at this time. They were all at a loss, thinking, even if you can jump higher, but jumping straight up like this, without any foothold to support your feet, won't you still fall down? But they saw this person shaking his arm in the air, and with a loud shout, a long rainbow suddenly shot out from his hand. A comet-like tail of light shot out in midair. After traversing several hundred zhang of space, she entered the land of Earth Mountains. With a clang, it completely disappeared. Thrown? Moreover, it was thrown from a high altitude, using all his strength to throw it. Everyone could see the sharpness of Sunlight Saber, but it fell from the sky without any resistance, and even pierced into a rock and disappeared. Obviously, the Moonlight Sword was as sharp as Sunlight Saber. Such a throw, perhaps it would penetrate several tens of feet into the ground. Moreover, in this pitch-black night, the landing point was very vague. Everyone was furious. Dong Wuxiang shouted loudly. He landed on the ground and rushed in the direction of his elder brother Dong Wulei. He then shouted, "Those who block me will die, but not be injured." When Dong Wulei heard the words "die without injury," his iron-like face suddenly exposed a strange expression, and he angrily said, "Bullshit. Watch how old he beats you to death, you bastard." His palms crossed, and he met Dong Wulei's attack head-on. Dong Wulei had personally taken action, so how could the others join in the fun? Moreover, everyone was most concerned about the Moonlight Sword. With a shout, everyone flocked forward and rushed towards the camp. The barracks wanted to block them, but in the blink of an eye, they were in a mess. Chapter 275. What the hell are you doing? Dong Wulei angrily cursed in a low voice. At the same time, he shouted and punched and kicked. I can't explain it clearly now. Dong Wuxiang's face was cold as he attacked fiercely. When did you say Feng Chu? Dong Wulei gritted his teeth. Let's talk about it when we get back. Dong Wuxiang snorted. Make it simple. Dong Wulei glared. It's fake. Dong Wuxiang rolled his eyes. Fuck. Dong Wulei couldn't help but curse. Young master, let's deal with him. The two king-level masters of Dong clan came over. Get lost. Dong Wulei shouted frantically, I'll deal with him myself. The faces of the two king-level masters twitched. Then, we'll go in and snatch the sword? Idiot. Dong Wulei angrily shouted, stay here and guard the formation. Therefore, the two brothers fought further and further away in the shouting and shouting. They punched and kicked. One leaped and flew, and the other followed closely behind. It didn't take long for them to get far away from that troublesome place. Dong Wulei finally pounced forward while panting for breath after he had made several turns. He didn't dodge or hide. That black-clothed masked man also didn't dodge. So, Dong Wulei grabbed his collar just like that. This strange phenomenon made the two king-level masters open their eyes wide. They couldn't figure out what was going on. What's going on? Eldest brother Dong gnashed his teeth. This is just a game. The voice of the masked man changed into a voice that everyone recognized. Second young master? The two king-level masters were shocked. They never dreamed that such a result would happen. Game. Eldest brother Dong grabbed Dong Wuxiang's neck and shouted with grief and indignation. Do you know that I was almost killed by Ao Xie Yun because of this game of yours? You? Why didn't you say so earlier? Dong Wuxiang snorted and said coolly, if I had said so earlier, would you still be able to take this beating? Good. Dong Wulei was so angry that he couldn't speak. His finger trembled as he swallowed his saliva and pointed at his younger brother. He almost spat out blood. You have guts. You have guts. He nodded fiercely. If it wasn't for me, you would still be fighting inside. Dong Wuxiang snorted. His face was expressionless as he pointed at the two king-level experts of his clan. Lead the way. I'll go back and sleep first. I guarantee that you'll sleep when you go back. Moreover, you'll have nightmares. Dong Wulei's nose became crooked. Big brother, you should be content. Luo Kadi was also in the know. Wasn't Luo Kuwu still yelling and rushing in now? Dong Wushang said earnestly, "Come on, let's go back." Dong Wulei was completely speechless. That king-level expert had called out from the other side of the room. So, everyone had also discovered this situation. Some of the more impatient ones gathered all their strength, punching and kicking at the same time. Suddenly, they felt the ground beneath their feet become empty, and their whole body fell straight down. He fell straight down. Damn, the space here is so big. What is this place? Who cares where it is? Let's find the moonlight sword first. Could it have been hidden by the people inside? It's also because of that despicable bastard. He inserted himself into someone else's lair. This is really fucked up. How do we find them? Suddenly, the headquarters of the Golden Horse Riders Department was in chaos. One after another, the place collapsed with a bang, filling the air with smoke and dust. Then, a crashing sound could be heard from the other side, as if a landslide had collapsed. The ground was empty. So, how could it withstand the torment of these king-level experts? In an instant, screams could be heard one after another. Chu Yang and Gu Duxing held their breaths and hid their traces. Taking advantage of the chaos, they also entered the Golden Horse Riders Department. This was really a heaven-sent opportunity. If not for the matter of the Moonlight Sword today, if not for Diwu Qingrou's order to withdraw the personnel here, if not for, under such circumstances, the biggest enemy of the Golden Horse Riders Department, King of Hell Chu, could actually come and go as he pleased in the headquarters of the Golden Horse Riders Department. If it was in the past, wouldn't this be a joke? Today, the two's main task was to release those Jianghu people who had been captured by the Golden Horse Riders Department. According to Chu Yang's investigation, those people were basically locked up here. Of course, the second auxiliary task was to thoroughly destroy. But things were so coincidental. After Chu Yang and Gu Duxing entered, they went straight underground. After passing through 3 levels, they found that the ground below was also a pot of chaos. But what made Chu Yang the happiest was that there was a guy holding a sword, excitedly rushing out. Damn, isn't that the main culprit of this chaos, the Moonlight Sword? Chu Yang's eyes widened. Dong Wushang's throw actually caused the sword to penetrate more than 300 feet into the ground? Isn't the strength too great? Of course, this was not the time to sigh at Dong Wushang's strength. Chu Yang flashed forward, and with a puff sound he pierced through that guy's heart, snatched the sword, and immediately started a massacre with Gu Duxing. The enemy has mixed in. Not good. Chu Yang and Gu Duxing killed all the way inside. After killing half of the mountain, they found that they did not even meet a single martial great master. Most of them were martial artists and martial masters. It could be assumed that those experts had been transferred away by Diwu Qingrou. Chu Yang's teeth itched with hatred. This bastard, it seems that he already expected that I would wantonly wreak havoc here, and actually made preparations in advance. This is really too unpleasant, too unpleasant. The next moment, the Moonlight Sword was already inside the tribulation space. He put it away. Why did you put it away? Gu Duxing was somewhat puzzled. Stupid, if I put it away, wouldn't they not be able to find it? Chu Yang said, but they clearly saw that it fell here. If they can't find it, why don't they look for it with all their might? If they can't find it in 1 day, then they can find it in 2 days. If they can't find it in 2 days, then they can't find it in 3 days. Gu Duxing broke out in cold sweat. He could see through Chu Yang's plan. He simply wanted to completely destroy this place. And he didn't even have to lift a finger. The rumbling sounds were getting closer and closer. Everyone only hated their parents for not giving birth to them with 2 more legs. Quickly, a group of madmen is coming, this mountain is about to collapse. Chu Yang and Gu Duxing were also running rapidly. It should be over there. Chu Yang said. Gu Duxing rolled his eyes in disdain. When they reached here, the screams were almost deafening. Let us out. We want to go out. If they still didn't know, then they would be really slow. Chu Yang didn't say anything and flew forward. With a few schwa 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 sounds, the huge iron chains of the 3 prison cells were cut off, and a stream of people rushed out like a tide. Shwa shwa shwa. Chu Yang continued to work. Not long after, all the prison cells were opened. It was obvious that these people's powers had been restricted. That was why they were trapped in this cell and could not rush out. But it didn't matter. As long as they could get out, everyone would have their own way to break this kind of imprisonment. Mo Tianyun and the others carefully searched layer by layer, but they did not find anything. When they reached this place, they were met with a black mass of people rushing out. These men were caught off guard and trampled into meat patties, but Chu Yang was looking for something else. What are you still looking for? I'm looking for the treasury of Golden Horse Riders Department. Chu Yang said with a headache. This guy is addicted to making money. He is actually looking for some unexpected wealth here. Diwu Qingro already guessed it. Do you still expect him to keep it for you? Gu Duxing curled his lips. Then there's nothing. Let's go. Chu Yang raised his head in disappointment and followed behind the crowd. Together with Gu Duxing, he assumed a clumsy posture as if his strength was being restrained. Then, the two of them swayed as they ran out. They passed by Mo Tianyun, Xie Danqiong and the others. Then the men went to the lower level. After a long time, boom! With a loud explosion, the entire hill collapsed, stirring up dust dozens of feet high. It's really spectacular. Chu Yang was already standing at a high point. He praised, it finally collapsed. In the midst of the smoke and dust, dozens of figures could be vaguely seen. They were tirelessly looking for something. Mo Tianyun and the others had already decided. This was Golden Horse Riders Department, Diwu Qingrou's place. The sword had clearly fallen here. If they couldn't find it, they might as well look for Diwu Qingrou and talk about the conditions. Besides, if they couldn't find it in 1 day, or 2 days, how could they not find it in 3 days? It must be known that as long as the iron rod was ground into an embroidered bowl, the heavens would not let down the painstaking effort. Naturally, these men did not know that the Moonlight Sword had already been returned to its rightful owner. This time, no one who knew the inside story would deny it, because this so-called Moonlight Sword was indeed created by Chu Yang. As for how this place would develop, Chu Yang didn't care. He only needed to know one thing. These young men would definitely make Diwu Qingrou badly battered during this period of time. They would annoy him to death. As for Diwu Qingrou's explanation about King of Hell Chu and the like, these men would certainly not believe it. What kind of treasure was the Moonlight Sword? Even if it really belonged to King of Hell Chu, would he be willing to take it out to set up such a trap? Who are you trying to fool? If you were Diwu Qingrou, would you be willing to do so? Just one sentence and they were left speechless. For the time being, there is nothing for us to do here. Gu Duxing muttered to himself and asked, what should we do next? Find a place to hide, and I will add some materials to your black dragon. Chu Yang also regained his seriousness and said seriously, your black dragon is indeed a heavenly weapon, but it is still too weak. I will give you another tempering. In addition, the 2 brothers are already dead. I am afraid that the Gu clan will soon look for you to return. Chu Yang said lightly, I estimate that we will have to separate before summer. During this time, I want to make some preparations. Preparations? Yes. There are some things that I need you to bring to Dong Wushang, GMO, Luo Kudi and Yin Butong. Chu Yang said softly, there are also some things that I need you to bring to Xiao Wu. In addition, I also have some things that I need you to do in these 3 days. Chu Yang's worried and distant eyes seemed to penetrate the barrier of the sky and went to Mo Qingwu's side. Chapter 276. 3 days later, in the Mo clan, Mo Qingwu's small body was curled up on the steps in front of the door. Her 2 small hands were supporting her cheeks as she stared blankly at the empty space in front of her. In her arms, a worn-out scabbard was quietly nestled in her arms. Sigh. The little girl sighed sadly. At such a young age, her sigh was heavy and full of vicissitudes of life. During this period of time, Mo Qingwu felt that the whole world had changed. Everything in the past was now unrecognizable. The elixirs used for cultivation had obviously dropped by dozens of levels. As for the priceless purple crystals used for cultivation, She couldn't even get a single piece now. In the past, the elders of the clan would often come to see her and urge her on her cultivation progress. Then, they would coax her with a satisfied smile for a while before leaving in satisfaction. Now, not a single person came. In the past, when her father saw her, he would always pick her up and happily lift her up in the air, laughing heartily. But now, she hadn't spoken to her father for a few months. Even if they met, it was only twice in a hurry. Whenever her father saw her, he would always sigh. And then leave. As if he was running away from something. Over time, Mo Qingwu's little heart became colder and colder. Father doesn't like me anymore. Because my 3-yin meridian is crippled. But with my 3-yin meridian crippled, am I no longer his daughter? Am I no longer father's Xiaowu? Is the 3-yin meridian so important? Is it more important than a daughter? The clan's power, a person who can't contribute to the clan in terms of martial arts, is there no value at all? I have no value at all? Mo Qingwu asked herself softly in her heart. Big drops of tears rolled down her cheeks. I don't want much, I just want my father to hug me, I want my father to kiss me. I want to laugh in my parents' arms for a while. No, even cry for a while, I just want to feel a warm embrace. But now, no one is willing to hug me, or maybe I'm no longer useful in the clan. Thinking of the conversation between her father and mother that she overheard that day, Mo Qingwu suddenly felt sad. Xiao Wu is now. Aren't you going to comfort her? She's so young, how can she bear it? Mother's reproachful voice. Even if you can't bear it, you still have to bear it. His father's voice let out a long sigh. No one can bear falling from the peak. But if she couldn't accept it now, she wouldn't be able to accept it when she grew up. Therefore, she must learn to accept it. I'm afraid that comforting her now will only harm her. Then, is there really no hope for Xiao Wu's fiancé? Her father sighed deeply and said, let's wait and see. If any family comes to propose marriage, her mother started sobbing. Her sobs were filled with sorrow for her daughter's future. If any family comes to propose marriage. Mo Qingwu was young, but she had grown up in a big clan. So, how could she not understand the meaning of this sentence? Am I going to be reduced to a tool for those clans to form alliances through marriage? From that moment on, Mo Qingwu's heart had truly turned cold. Second brother didn't come to see me anymore. He had constantly sent people from the Zhonglan battlefront to deliver small gifts and toys. Now, Mo Qingwu's bedroom was filled with those little things. But that's not what I want. That's not it. All I want is kinship. Mo Qingwu's heart was screaming. She was incomparably miserable. All the things that Mo Tianji had sent over had been thrown into a corner by her like a pair of worn-out shoes. Perhaps, in this world, there is only one person who still cares about me and still likes me, regardless of what I have become. Mo Qingwu hugged the scabbard in her arms and gently pressed her delicate little face against the worn-out scabbard. Scabbard, you know, don't you? Mo Qingwu murmured in a low voice, only Big Brother Chu Yang truly likes me. He truly doesn't dislike me. When I met Brother Chu Yang, my 3-yin meridian was already crippled. I didn't know at that time, but Brother Chu Yang played with me every day and told me stories every day. He even gave me a saber. Looking at them, I knew that the saber was very, very good. That was given to me by Brother Chu Yang. My saber made them break their heads to snatch it. Mo Qingwu smiled proudly. But her tears flowed down along with her smile. Do you know that the saber that you shed all pretenses of cordiality to snatch was only a toy that elder Brother Chu Yang gave me? Brother Chu Yang, I miss you so much. Mo Qingwu looked at the empty space in front of her and said weakly, I don't want to stay here anymore. I don't like here, although this is my home. Miss, it's cold outside, let's go inside. A maid walked over softly. Zhen Qingwu wiped her tears and stood up with the scabbard in her arms. Her little face became expressionless again. Mo Qingwu's experience during this period of time had greatly changed her state of mind. Since no one cares about me and no one cares about me, even if I want to cry, I won't let anyone see it. Even if I'm sad, I'll only be sad in my heart. I won't let you see me as a joke. I'll only cry when I see Brother Chu Yang. The atmosphere in the Mo clan was somewhat gloomy these days. Songlan battlefront had undergone drastic changes. The martial arts training ground of the major clans was in turmoil during this period of time. The seal had cracked open. Songlan battlefront was filled with all kinds of spirit beasts. The territory was vast, and the pelts and cores of the spirit beasts were very popular goods. Moreover, Songlan battlefront was a place similar to the wilderness. Humans couldn't live in it. Therefore, every time they entered it, they would rush out after obtaining what they needed. The major sources of income for the major clans basically came from there. Songlan battlefront was also the best testing ground for the martial arts of the younger generation of the clans. As long as the younger generation didn't go deep into Songlan battlefront, they could challenge and kill ordinary spirit beasts. Not only could they hone their martial arts, they could also earn income and increase the clan's foundation. It was also the best place for the younger generation to make a name for themselves. Of course, this place had been abandoned for tens of thousands of years. There were also countless spirit herbs inside. And these spirit herbs were also things that the clans longed for, but recently, the seal had cracked open. No one would have thought that when the seal cracked open this time, the 3 Stars Divine clan would come out from inside. 10,000 years ago, they were the mortal enemies of mankind. After the 3 Stars Divine clan came out, they occupied a large area. Then, they used their innate talent to urge the spirit beasts to form one area after another within Songlan battlefront. Everyone minded their own business. But once a human entered, they would rise up and attack him. This was equivalent to the originally unorganized and undisciplined spirit beasts transforming into a well-trained army. And these areas were gradually expanding. So far, there was a faint momentum of expanding beyond Songlan battlefront. For the major clans of the lower heavens, this was absolutely unbearable. Therefore, after New Year's Eve, the major clans held on for a period of time. Without prior consultation, they issued a mobilization order and a summon order. They ordered the people outside to immediately rush back to Songlan battlefront, lower 3 heavens, Great Zhao Prefecture City. Chu Yang and Gu Duxing were nestled in a place. They hadn't moved for a long time. Both of them were digesting the results of this trip. Gu Duxing's cultivation had broken through to 4th grade revered sword artist 2 days ago. He had taken another solid step forward. And Chu Yang didn't let him go either. Calamity Sword. After robbing the Great Zhao Imperial Palace, Calamity Sword had absorbed the residual medicinal efficacy in his meridians. Unexpectedly, it had made him advance rapidly and broke through to 1st grade revered martial artist. Even though the sword spirit was trying to suppress it, the sword tip and sword edge seemed to have something to rely on. It madly rushed forward. By the time the sword spirit had succeeded in stopping it, Chu Yang was already a 1st grade revered martial artist. The sword spirit wanted to cry but had no tears to shed. And the residual medicinal efficacy was too much. The place where the two lived was not far from Heaven-reaching Tower. Therefore, they could completely see the movements of Heaven-reaching Tower. The major clans didn't find anything in the ruins of Golden Horse Riders Department. As expected, they found the Chengxiang residence. The conditions were, Mo clan, as long as the Prime Minister can make Golden Horse Riders Department hand over the sword, we will do whatever we want, Ao clan. As long as the Prime Minister can make Golden Horse Riders Department hand over the sword, we will do whatever we want, Xie clan. As long as Li clan, as long as Tu clan, as long as O clan, as long as, of course, they all spoke in unison. As long as Prime Minister Diwu doesn't make Golden Horse Riders Department hand over the sword, we will do whatever we want. For the first time in his life, Diwu Qingro tasted the feeling of being badly battered. Ao clan, Mo clan, and Xie clan were easier to deal with. Their words were softer. However, Tu clan was unreasonable. Tu Qianhao lived in the Prime Minister's residence and said, "If you don't give it to me, I won't leave." As for Li Xiongtu, he commanded his king-level experts to compare notes with Golden Horse Riders Department every day. He said, "Compare notes, just once." "Well, if you don't give it to me, Then I will beat you until you give it to me. Diwu Qingro wouldn't have cared if it was an ordinary person. He would have directly ordered them to be expelled, locked up, or killed. However, these people were the treasures of the three great clans. They weren't ordinary people. How could Prime Minister Diwu endure this? He urged Jing Menghun more than once, it's best to quickly find that sword, and then throw it out. Let them fight amongst themselves and do whatever they want. However, Jing Menghun was depressed. Where can I find that sword? Jingyu Master was also very anxious. In fact, he had to swallow his anger and gather his subordinates. He couldn't blame the other party for destroying his headquarters. Instead, he had to help them find the sword. However, the small hill was turned over and over again. Almost every stone was knocked open and turned into powder. The entire hill was flattened and then turned into a big pit. The pit got deeper and deeper, but they still couldn't find the sword. So much so that this place became a fertile field in the end. There was no other place where the soil was more delicate and fertile than this place. Chapter 277. Vote Golden Keyboard Award link. In the royal palace, Emperor Zhaozhi was shivering. This emperor grew up in a sheltered place. He never dreamed that Diwu Qingrou's methods would be so ruthless and bloody. He did not leave any leeway. He did not care about the dignity of the royal family. He did not care about the lives of tens of thousands of people. He did not care about the military officials. There was only one word for everyone in his hands: kill. The imperial concubines were huddled together. Their faces were pale and bloodless. Their bodies were shivering like the wind. Prime Minister Diwu has arrived. A soldier at the door announced with a blood-stained saber. But it sounded like a death knell. Diwu Qingro has arrived. Emperor Zhaozhi's lips turned purple. He said with a trembling voice, "What is he doing here?" No one answered him. There was only silence. The sound of steady footsteps was heard. Diwu Qingro had a gentle smile on his face. He calmly walked in step by step. He was wearing an ordinary cotton robe, and with his hands clasped behind his back, he walked in leisurely. His expression was still elegant and calm. It was as if he did not care about anything. But Zhaozhi seemed to see a demon from hell covered in blood. His eyes turned white, and he almost fainted. "Greetings, Your Majesty." Diwu Qingro greeted. Greetings, Prime Minister. Zhaozhi tried hard to control his facial muscles. He wanted to show a smile and not lose his temperament. But he did not succeed. Diwu Qingro stood with his hands behind his back. He slightly glanced. A guard quickly brought a chair and placed it behind him. Diwu Qingro smiled and sat down gracefully. "Your Majesty. You and I are monarch and minister. It is fate." Diwu Qingro smiled and sighed. He said, "I originally thought that we could work together to unify the country and stand at the peak for the world to worship. I have the ability to unify the country, and I also have the courage to do so. It is a pity that Your Majesty does not trust me." Diwu Qingro sighed and looked at Zhaozhi with pity. "Why bother? Yes, it is my fault." Zhaozhi did not dare to look at him. He said with a trembling voice, "Yes, I was really wrong." Diwu Qingro chuckled. "Back then, you didn't trust me. I had no choice but to find an opportunity on the battlefield to seize power. But I didn't expect that it would be much better than you giving me military power." Diwu Qingro slightly narrowed his eyes. It seemed as if he was recalling the tragic battle of those years. One exchange after another, one battle after another, I, Diwu Qingro, have built up my reputation. I have also accumulated countless military merits. You have no choice but to reward me. And when it reached a certain point, all the commanding power in the front line was in my hands. The overall situation was set. You are no longer able to control me. Diwu Qingrou's voice paused for a moment. Then he continued, "Next, I will go on expeditions to the south and the north. Firstly, I will eradicate my enemies. Secondly, I will be an omnipotent commander in the eyes of the world. Even in the eyes of Iron Dragon City, I was the one who was in control of the battle. for the sake of great military exploits. But he was wrong. What I want is not military merit, but power. Diwu Qingro said casually. During that time, the entire Great Zhao Empire's 12 million soldiers were deployed to the battlefield. What I want is familiarity with the army. I want the trust of the generals in the army. And I want to have control over each army. Because I know that you won't give me those things. So I can only fight for them myself. Countless ships and traps. Although Ironcloud's losses were huge, Great Zhao's casualties were much more than Ironcloud's. Because there were too many people who were personally set up traps and led into Great Zhao's ambush, and those people were loyal to His Majesty and Great Zhao. But because I didn't trust you, I didn't trust those people. So I wanted people who were loyal to me. Diwu Qingro let out a long sigh. Finally, when the war came to an end and Ironcloud was weakened, I stopped fighting and returned to the court with unparalleled military merits. Everyone thought that I deliberately gave Ironcloud a chance to breathe. But that was not the case. Diwu Qingro said, because at that time, I only had the army and no politics. So I had to come back and create a political situation that I could control. And at that time, the royal family's control over the country was still very strong. Even if I destroyed Ironcloud, it would be easy for you to destroy me. So I couldn't go to war at that time. So I gave up the good situation of the war and came back to manage the rear. Diwu Qingro sighed deeply. If you could have trusted me at that time, I would have conquered the country for you by now. Unfortunately, you didn't. So now, it's too late for you to deal with me. Diwu Qingro stood up. The army is the absolute truth. You don't have soldiers or generals. You want to deal with the leader of the army with just a bunch of rotten scholars? Your Majesty, don't you think this is too ridiculous? Zhao Zhi's face was pale and his eyes were blank. There are many things I want to say. Many things I wanted to say to you many years ago. But today, I found that there is no need to say anything. Diwu Qingro said casually, there is no need to say anything. Maybe my state of mind has changed. But now, I feel that I am somewhat naive. Diwu Qingro said slowly, today, I came to talk to you and demonstrate. But I was naive. Diwu Qingro stood up after he finished speaking. He didn't even look at Chu Yang as he casually walked out. Then, Diwu Qingro's voice came from outside. Seal this place. Let His Majesty live a good life inside. From today onwards, no one is allowed to come out. Until the end of this war. After the war, if we win, take His Majesty out to see the good situation. Then behead him. If we lose, behead him. Exterminate the whole clan. Zhao Zhi heard everything clearly. His eyes rolled and he fainted. Death regardless of victory or defeat. This matter was reversed. It had always been the royal family who ordered the extermination of other clans. But now, Diwu Qingro directly ordered the extermination of the royal family? This was really speechless. Great Zhao's purge was still in progress. Moreover, looking at Diwu Qingro's attitude, it would take a while. And at this time, the Gu clan finally contacted Gu Duxing. Returned to the clan. The night before Gu Duxing left, Chu Yang whispered to him for half the night. Finally, he handed him a big bag. This is for GMO, this is for Dong Wushang, and this is for... Of course, most of it was for Mo Qingwu. In the morning breeze, the two brothers stood facing each other. Take care. Take care. These two words were said almost at the same time from the two of them. Then, Gu Duxing looked at Chu Yang silently and deeply. Then, he turned and left without looking back. Good brother. I met you at a time of danger. You helped me. You gave me hope. You helped me cultivate. You've done everything you can for me. I will not let you down. Never. These words were in Gu Duxing's heart, but he did not say a word. Chu Yang also did not say anything. The parting seemed very simple, but both of them knew that the next time they met would be in 3 days. And not here. On the third day, the Mo clan suddenly became lively. This should not have happened. All the clans were preparing for war in the Zhonglan battlefront, but the Mo clan was suddenly as busy as a marketplace. On this day, Emo Xingchen was discussing matters with the great elder in the study. Suddenly, a servant came to reporting to clan master, the two young masters have arrived. Young masters? Emo Xingchen was surprised. The two young masters, Ji Zhu and Ji Emo, have arrived. Oh, let them wait in the living room. Inform the Grand Duke to welcome the guests. Yes, young Master Ji Zhu is already drinking tea in the living room. But second young Master Ji has gone to the inner residence to find young Miss. Young Miss? What young Miss? Emo Xingchen was surprised. It's young Miss Xiao Wu. The servant lowered his head and pursed his lips in a hidden place. Xiao Wu. Emo Xingchen was surprised. Why is GMO looking for Xiao Wu? Inner residence. Brother GMO. Emo Qingwu's surprised cheer resounded through the entire backyard. She practically flew over. Brother GMO, why are you here? Where's Brother Chu Yang? Is he also here? Your brother Chu Yang didn't come. GMO said this sentence and saw Emo Qingwu's small face fall. He hurriedly hugged her in his arms. He comforted her. But even though your brother Chu Yang didn't come, he asked me to bring you many good things. Really? Emo Qingwu opened her eyes wide and became excited. Wherewith? Of course it's true. GMO suddenly realized that something was wrong. Why are you so much lighter? Why are you so thin? Second young Master Ji was furious. Who bullied you? No one bullied me. Emo Qingwu's eyes flashed and then dimmed. She raised her face and begged, Brother GMO, I don't want to live here any. Can you take me to your house to live? This. GMO hesitated. No. A voice came. Xiao Wu, this is your own house. How can you leave? The one who spoke was an elder from a branch of the Mo clan. He was under the orders of the clan master to invite GMO to the hall. Xiao Wu, what happened? GMO put down Emo Qingwu and slowly stood up. He looked at the king-level master of the Mo clan. Second young Master Ji, this? The master hesitated for a while. Seeing GMO's face become more and more ugly, he finally pulled GMO aside and whispered in his ear. 3-in Meridian was destroyed? GMO was stunned. After he came to Heavenly Armament Pavilion, Chu Yang didn't tell him about Emo Qingwu's 3-in Meridian being destroyed. So he only knew now. Chapter 278. As the younger brother of a big clan, GMO certainly knew the fate of such people who lost their future. He couldn't help but sigh. But this was the Mo clan's internal affairs. Although he was a cousin, it was inconvenient for him to intervene. He could only silently decide in his heart, if there is really a key, then I must do my best to find a good home for my cousin, so that she won't suffer for the rest of her life. You go first. I'll accompany Xiao Wu. I'll be there later. GMO said. Emo Qingwu watched from the side. Her eyes were filled with tears. Her little hands were clasped together, full of uneasiness. Xiao Wu, take a look at the gift that Brother Chu Yang asked me to give you. GMO forcibly suppressed the pain in his heart and pretended to be happy. He took Emo Qingwu's little hand and went to her room. Come, take a look at what this is. The first thing GMO took out was a medium-sized jade bottle. Inside this bottle was the vitality spring water that Chu Yang had asked him to bring. A big bottle. What is this? Water? Emo Qingwu looked at the jade bottle suspiciously. The next moment she gently stroked it. She raised her face and asked hopefully, this jade bottle, is it Brother Chu Yang's? GMO scratched his head. Chu Yang's jade bottle? What's precious is the water inside, okay? Brother Chu Yang. Emo Qingwu suddenly hugged the jade bottle tightly in her bosom. Big drops of tears fell from her eyes. At this moment, seeing this jade bottle, Emo Qingwu felt as if she had seen Chu Yang himself. The pain that had been suppressed for several months suddenly rushed up like a flood. She cried for a long time. GMO was at a loss. He completely didn't expect that a mere jade bottle would make Emo Qingwu so emotional. After a long time, Emo Qingwu finally stopped sobbing. Drink it quickly. This is a priceless treasure, the vitality spring water. GMO lowered his voice and said, "Your brother Chu Yang repeatedly told me to watch you drink it with my own eyes. But I can't bear to drink it." Mo Qingwu blinked her big eyes and looked at GMO. "There's no more after drinking it." "Silly girl, what is there to be reluctant about?" GMO hurriedly advised. "After drinking this, your body will improve a lot. Moreover, even if you get injured, it won't leave a scar. But I still can't bear to drink it." Mo Qingwu was on the verge of tears. "Can I keep it?" "But if you don't drink, Big Brother GMO will be angry," Ji Mogwan said in confusion. But seeing that it didn't work, he could only say, "If your big brother Chu Yang knew that you didn't drink the vitality spring water, that he went through untold hardships for you, he would be heartbroken. Then I'll drink." Mo Qingwu hurriedly nodded vigorously. "I'll drink it right away." Seeing Mo Qingwu raise her head and gulp down a bottle of vitality spring water, GMO was stunned. Chu Yang's power is so great. After drinking the vitality spring water, Mo Qingwu hugged the jade bottle to her bosom. "Brother Chu Yang, what else did you bring for me?" Mo Qingwu asked hopefully. "Yes, and this, and this." GMO simply untied the bundle. Inside was a pile of toys of all shapes and sizes. "This is good." Mo Qingwu fiddled with it a few times with her small hands and found a bow. It was made of red cloud steel and star iron. It was bright red, reflecting the specks of starlight. It was extremely beautiful. GMO's lips twitched. Every time he saw this bow, he had this reaction. Using the essence of red cloud steel and star iron to make a bow to coax a little girl to play with. In this world, only Chu Yang would be so extravagant, right? This must be given to me by Big Brother Chu Yang. As for the rest, Big Brother GMO bought them yourself, right? Mo Qingwu tilted her head and looked at the bow lovingly as she asked casually. How do you know?" GMO was dumbfounded. Mo Qingwu's casual words were the truth. "Because this is the only one I like." Mo Qingwu wrinkled her nose. Her smile revealed a long-lost happiness and wisdom. She said, "Only Big Brother Chu Yang knows what I like." As she said, she looked at GMO with some disdain. She pouted and said, "You don't know." GMO fainted. "Big Brother GMO, I still have to thank you." Mo Qingwu cherished the jade bottle and the bow in front of her chest. Her face revealed a satisfied smile. "Thank you for bringing them to me." "You're welcome." "You're welcome." GMO suddenly felt very uncomfortable in his heart. Mo Qingwu, the young miss of the Mo clan, was now so coincidental. "I'll go and discuss it with Uncle." GMO wanted to say something, but he swallowed it back. He thought, if Uncle doesn't agree, I'll stay and accompany her. "No, I can't stay. Songlan Battlefront is still waiting for me to fight. Besides, even if I take her to my house, if I'm not there and Big Brother is not there, who can she play with?" He shook his head and sighed. He returned to the hall. He told Mo Xingshan about the idea of taking Mo Qingwu to stay for a few days. Sure enough, Mo Xingshan thought for a while and refused. He said, "If it's a normal time, it's fine to go and stay for a few days. But now all the big clans are dealing with the 3 Stars Divine clan in Songlan Battlefront. Why are you still looking after the child? Let's wait until this matter is over." Jiju and GMO had just left. Mo Xingshan was about to rest when he heard someone reporting to Clan Lord, "The second Duke of the Luo clan is here to visit Miss Xiao Wu." "Luo clan? Luo Ergong? Here to visit Xiao Wu?" Mo Xingshan was really startled this time. Jiju and GMO visiting Mo Qingwu was understandable. After all, they were cousins. But why did this Luo Ergong come? Didn't he know that the Mo clan and the Luo clan were enemies? The two clans had been fighting each other for more than 100 years. It could be said that there was an irreconcilable enmity between the two clans. This Luo Ergong actually came to visit Xiao Wu at this time? Did he have an ulterior motive? Knowing that our clan's genius was crippled, he deliberately came to humiliate us? But even so, he was really too audacious. You should know that if things go wrong, this Luo Ergong may lose his life here. "Please come in," Mo Xingshan said indifferently. He stood up at the same time, I'd like to see what this Luo Ergong is here for. Luo Kadi, dressed in a snow-white robe, walked in under the hostile gazes of everyone in the Mo clan. He was calm and collected, not looking sideways. Although Luo Kadi was usually very funny, and his style of doing things was also very unconventional, he was a person who valued relationships the most. Chu Yang is my boss. Boss once said that when I have the chance, I should come and dance. Then I must do it because I promised. So what if the Luo clan and the Mo clan are enemies? When I promised boss, we were already enemies. If I didn't want to come, I wouldn't have agreed at that time. But since I promised, even if we are enemies, I will still come. Even if I die, I will still come. So I came. Under the astonished gaze of Mo Xingqian and the watchful eyes of everyone in the Mo clan, Luo Kadi walked into the Mo clan. According to his request, he met Mo Qingwu. What happened next made even the experienced and knowledgeable Mo clan lord, Mo Xingqian, drop his glasses. Xiaowu. The frost on Luo Kadi's face instantly melted into a bright and affectionate smile, as if he had seen a little sister he hadn't seen in a long time. Wow, brother Luo. Mo Qingwu was also very surprised. She knew that her clan and the Luo clan were not on good terms, but she would never have thought that Luo Kadi would actually risk universal condemnation to come and see her. Mo Xingqian's eyes widened in a split second. Luo Kadi looked at the big and small pair playing happily outside Mo Qingwu's room. Then he patiently listened to Mo Qingwu's long-winded complaints, and then he played a game? Then, telling stories? Mo Xingqian sighed deeply and quietly retreated. How long has it been since Xiao Wu was so happy? Now, after Xiao Wu saw her enemy, Luo Kadi, she was even more affectionate than seeing her father. Could it be that I was wrong? For the clan, even if I am wrong, what can I do? I am the clan lord. Mo Xingqian quietly left. And Luo Kadi also played with Mo Qingwu for a day without worry. Xiao Wu, this time, your brother Chu Yang sent me to play with you. I can only stay here for a day. Luo Kadi squatted in front of Mo Qingwu and said softly, tomorrow, I will go to Tsanglan battlefront. Why do you all want to go to Tsanglan battlefront? Mo Qingwu said dazzlingly, but I am so lonely here. There is no one to play with me and no one to talk to me. Luo Kadi was silent for a while and said, I also don't want to go, but I still want to go very much. It is very dangerous there, but it is also very happy there. There are enemies there, but there are also friends there. As a brother of the Three Heavens clan, it is my responsibility. And a man's responsibility. Luo Kadi said softly. To this Mo Qingwu, who was obviously just a little girl, Luo Kadi didn't have any pretense and easily spoke his mind. Responsibility. Fighting against the Three Stars Divine clan and protecting the Three Heavens continent was their responsibility. There was no room for shirking. When I came, I packed a lot of small gifts for you. I don't know if you will like them. Luo Kadi put down the big package in his hands. Oh right, when your brother Chu Yang asked me to come see you, he asked me to pass you a message. Luo Kadi said. What message? Mo Qingwu hurriedly raised her head and pricked up her ears. He said, Little Wu, you must be happy. Luo Kadi said, Brother Chu Yang will come to find you and pick you up. Mo Qingwu was stunned. Tears flowed down her white and tender cheeks. For a very long time, she had been looking forward to hearing these words. She had been looking forward to someone to take her away. And today, she finally got these words from Brother Chu Yang. For a moment, her little heart suddenly felt sour. She was so happy that she wanted to cry. Luo Kadi left. After all, he was an enemy of the Mo clan. He couldn't stay here for too long. The reason he could stay for so long was because Mo Tianyun had already gone to Tsanglan battlefront. If Mo Tianyun was still here, it would be even harder to say. But Mo Qingwu's heart had already calmed down. She felt that she had grown up. Moreover, her heart also had a place to stay. Little Wu, you must be happy. Brother Chu Yang will come to find you and pick you up. Mo Qingwu tilted her head and hugged the broken scabbard and jade bottle. Wearing a rainbow starlight bow on her head, she imitated Chu Yang's voice and murmured softly. Her voice was very soft, so soft that it was as if she was having a beautiful dream and was afraid of waking up. Brothers and sisters, the double monthly votes have already started. Please support me. To be continued. If you like this work, you are welcome to vote for it. Your support is my greatest motivation. Chapter 279. Dong Wuxiang followed him. Moreover, Second Master Dong had arrived in a rather shocking manner. Second Master Dong had arrived with a large group of people. The Dong clan had sent a total of 2,400 people to Tsanglan battlefront. And all of them were experts. Dong Wuxiang was riding on a huge 1,000-mile cow. It was swaying back and forth. He also wanted to ride a horse. After all, riding a horse was much more elegant than riding a cow. This cow was a spirit beast. However, a cow was a cow. It wasn't as smooth and beautiful as a horse's. However, Dong Wuxiang's saber was too heavy. In addition, there were other miscellaneous things, special soft armor, and Second Master Dong's tall and sturdy body. So, it was more than 500 kilograms. What kind of horse could carry such a heavy load? Therefore, the 2,400 people of the Dong clan were all riding on tall and big horses. Only the Second Master Dong was riding on a tall and big bull at the front. The Dong clan was east of the Mo clan. The two clans were more than 500 kilometers apart. So, it was on the way to Tsanglan battlefront. Naturally, it wasn't on the way to Mo clan's main gate. It was such a coincidence that Second Master Dong had strongly requested this. Therefore, the large group of people had changed their direction and had arrived in a grandiose manner. Dong Wu Lei, who was leading the group, didn't want to change their direction. After all, they would have to travel for at least 2.5 days if they changed their direction. This was too much of a waste of manpower and money. However, the most helpless and humiliating thing for young Master Dong was that he couldn't beat Dong Wuxiang at this moment. Dong Wuxiang blatantly threatened his elder brother, "Change your direction if you don't want to lose face in front of these 2,400 people and get beaten up by me." Young Master Dong had no choice but to change their direction after he had cursed for a long time. The sound of carriages and horses neighing was heard. It seemed as if they had come to seek revenge. The 2,400 people of the Dong clan were led by Second Master Dong. They had arrived at the Mo clan's territory in an awe-inspiring and murderous manner. They had arrived at the Mo clan's main gate. Second Master Dong carried his saber and jumped off his horse. Then he shouted at the gatekeeper in a rough voice, "Go! Inform them that the second master of the Dong clan, Dong Wuxiang, has come to visit Miss Mo Qingwu." The guards at the entrance of the Mo clan were already dumbfounded. They were so scared that their legs were cramping. Fuck! Why are they glaring at us? Could it be that they are enemies? As soon as he heard this, he felt as if he had been granted amnesty. He hurriedly turned around and went in to report. Patriarch Mo Xingchen was truly depressed. This time he was really depressed. Why wasn't it over yet? One by one. And to visit our family's youngest daughter who has already become a cripple? The Dong clan and the Mo clan had never interfered with each other. However, the Dong clan was stronger than the Mo clan in terms of strength. Moreover, the relationship between the two brothers of the Dong clan was very good. They weren't like the two brothers of the Mo clan who were at loggerheads with each other. So, it could be said that the Dong clan would certainly suppress the Mo clan in the future. Therefore, Mo Xingchen had no choice but to personally welcome him. When he came out to take a look, he was shocked. So many people are here to visit Xiaowu. Are they here to fucking demonstrate their strength? This must be Patriarch Mo? Dong Wuxiang cupped his hands and respectfully said, "Wuxiang has been entrusted by someone to visit Xiaowu. And it just so happens that it's on the way to the Tsanglan battlefront. I hope Patriarch Mo won't take offense to my rudeness." "Nephew Dong, what are you talking about? Please come in quickly. This old man is extremely happy that you've come." Although Mo Xingchen didn't know whether Dong Wuxiang's real intention was to visit Xiaowu or something else, he still had to put on an act. "How has Xiaowu been these days?" Dong Wuxiang smiled and walked through the door. He already knew the answer. Her 3 meridian was crippled, and her qualifications to be groomed by the clan were revoked. It was equivalent to falling from heaven to hell. How could she be well? Besides, this matter wasn't a secret in the three heavens anymore. Mo Xingchen rolled his eyes in his heart, but on the surface, he sighed and said, "It's all thanks to you." "You're wrong. It can't be all thanks to me." Dong Wushang glared and said, "Since when did I, Dong Wushang, have such great fortune?" Mo Xingchen was so angry that he looked like a Buddha ascending to heaven. "Fuck, aren't your words too unpleasant to hear? I respect you as the second Duke of the Dong clan, but this old man personally coming out to greet you is already giving you a lot of face. Why are you still speaking in such an eccentric tone? Everyone says that the two dukes of the Dong clan are steady, but why is this person acting like the second Duke of the Dong clan today?" What he didn't know was that when Dong Wushang was in the Heavenly Armament Pavilion, although he was taciturn and didn't like to talk, he was quite fond of Mo Qingwu. Mo Qingwu would often look for him to talk to, which relieved a lot of the boredom of this second young Master Dong, and added a lot of fun. Therefore, he especially liked this obedient little girl. This time, when he heard that Mo Qingwu had suffered grievances in the clan because her 3E meridian was crippled, Dong Wushang was already full of anger. This time, he came to visit Mo Qingwu, but his real purpose was to use this opportunity to vent Mo Qingwu's anger. Therefore, he purposely put on this attitude to disgust people. Besides, he had spent so much time with Luo Kudi and GMO, these two hoodlums and bandits. This vivid image of a ruffian didn't need to be pretentious. He just opened his mouth and said it. "I don't know how second young Master Dong and my daughter met." Mo Xingchen suppressed his anger. He had to suppress it. In case he offended him, the current strength of the Mo clan was no match for these 2,400 people in front of him. Mo Tianyun had already led the Mo clan's military force to Zhonglan battlefront a few days ago. In case this bad-tempered guy flipped out and swept the entire Mo clan, then that would be a great loss of face. It's also a coincidence. Yes, Miss Xiao Wu and I hit it off very, very well. I like her very, very much. Dong Wushang smiled. Moreover, my big brother also likes her very much. It's like he's afraid she'll melt in his mouth, and afraid she'll fall out of his hands. Your big brother? Mo Xingchen was somewhat startled. Old dog. These two words were no joke. Since he called him that, then he definitely wasn't his big brother. It was just that he didn't know when this second young Master Dong had another big brother? This big brother, what kind of earth-shattering character was he? My big brother. Dong Wushang grinned and said, he's also the big brother of GMO, Gu Duxing, Luo Kadi, and the rest of us. He likes Xiao Wu very much. Moreover, he gave Xiao Wu a treasured saber that he had kept for many years. That saber is our big brother's family heirloom. Back then, there were several saber monarchs in our big brother's clan. They all relied on that saber to dominate the heavens. Mo Xingchen only felt his head explode with dizziness. His body couldn't help but sway twice. Countless stars flashed before his eyes. Saber monarch? Family heirloom? GMO, Luo Kudi, Gu Duxing, and Dong Wushang's big brother. I'm going to faint. What kind of character is this? If this mysterious big brother knew that the saber he gave to Mo Qingwu was stolen, I wonder what kind of reaction he would have? Would he fly into a rage and rush to the Mo clan? Dong Wushang lowered his eyelids and secretly sized up this Mo clan head's expression. He couldn't help but smile proudly in his heart. This was the method that he, GMO, Luo Kadi, Miao Butong, and the rest came up with to build momentum for Mo Qingwu. That was bragging. Bragging fiercely. Bragging to your heart's content. There was no fear of bragging, only fear of not daring to brag. Moreover, if such words were spoken by GMO or Luo Kadi, the threat wouldn't be great. Only Dong Wushang had a clan and strength. Moreover, he was almost universally acknowledged as a man of few words, only interested in saber fanatics. Such a person wouldn't lie at all. But if he were to lie to someone, it would be a piece of cake for him to get caught. Nephew Dong, who is this big brother of yours? Mo Xingchen asked cautiously. Previously, he had addressed him as Nephew Dong. But Dong Wuxiang's tone was very rude, so when he got angry, he changed it to Second Young Master Dong. Now that his heart was shaken, he couldn't help but change it back to Nephew Dong. I can't tell you this. Big Brother has strict rules. If he knows that I leaked his information, I won't be able to bear his temper. Dong Wuxiang chuckled and said, but your Mo clan is really blessed. With Miss Xiao Wu, your clan will definitely prosper for a long time. Speaking of which, it's really fate. Big Brother is traveling the heavens, but accidentally saved Xiao Wu. Cough cough, it's really fate. Second Master Dong was at a loss for words as he made up stories. He could only sigh about fate. After all, he wasn't as eloquent as Luo Kudi and GMO. However, this only made it even more convincing. Traveling the heavens. This sentence gave Mo Xingchen endless fanciful thoughts. Could it be someone from a super clan of the upper three heavens? Yes, to be able to make the four geniuses of the four great clans so convinced, and to think that Big Brother casually gave out a treasure saber that's the best in the world. Such a character could only exist in the upper three heavens, right? And it should be some super clan. Oh, I see. Nephew Dong, please come in. Mo Xingchen hurriedly extended his hand to welcome the guest. He realized that he was still blocking the guest at the door. This was a great disrespect. Yes, I'm going in. But I'm leaving after seeing Xiao Wu. I still have to go to the Zhonglan battlefront to play. Dong Wuxiang squinted his eyes and said, Uncle Limo, you must take good care of Xiao Wu. My big brother is currently prescribing medicine for Xiao Wu. He won't be here for a while. But I reckon it won't be long before he comes to treat Xiao Wu's illness. Dong Wu smiled meaningfully and said, my big brother has the ability to transcend the heavens and see through the earth. Mo Xingchen was delighted. He asked suspiciously, but I wonder, how confident are you? I can't say for sure. Dong Wuxiang frowned. Which big brother of yours really has such means? Mo Xingchen asked. Uncle Mo? Dong Wuxiang stood still and looked at him. He suddenly took down the saber from his shoulder. What do you think of my saber? Chapter 280. Mo Xingchen helplessly laughed dryly and said, Nephew Dong's saber is naturally a divine weapon. As he spoke, he received the sheathed saber, but suddenly felt his wrists fiercely drop down. Greatly startled, he hastily circulated his elemental energy to support the saber, so as not to embarrass himself on the spot. However, he was also shocked. What saber? So heavy? With a clang, the saber was pulled out. Instantly, a cold black light shot out in all directions, filled with killing intent. It was as if the temperature of the entire Mo clan had dropped by 12 degrees. The entire saber was without any ornaments. Very plain. But the saber's edge was short, and the back of the saber was as thick as a mountain. The saber's shape was smooth, and one could tell at a glance that this was a murderous weapon. Under such a saber, even a sledgehammer would be sliced in half. This saber, even without any strength, can cut through iron like mud. Its sharpness is not inferior to the dreaming of a gentle dance saber that my boss gifted to Miss Xiao Wu. Dong Wuxiang said meaningfully. Dreaming of a gentle dance saber, Mo Xingchen was shocked. At this point, he was already 80% convinced of Dong Wuxiang's words. He actually knew the name of that saber. What a good saber! Mo Xingchen held the saber lovingly, his heart reluctant to part with it. But such a saber could only be used by the Black Saber clan. If it was in the Mo clan, even if a king-level master used it, he would not be able to use it. It was too heavy. Dong Wuxiang received the saber and smiled contentedly. This saber was gifted to me by my boss. Mo Xingchen was shocked again. His heart's understanding of his mysterious boss's abilities deepened. Dreaming of a gentle dance saber, and such a peerless treasure saber. What kind of background did he have to be able to casually gift such a heavenly weapon that could shake the world? Furthermore, he gave away 2 of them at once? Dreaming of a gentle dance saber was given to Miss Xiao Wu because of the 2 words Qingwu in her name. Dong Wuxiang said solemnly, Uncle Mo, please do not disappoint the 2 words Qingwu. Mo Xingchen forced a smile. an indescribable feeling in his heart. I'm going to check on Xiao Wu. Boss asked me to bring something for her. Dong Wushang chuckled and said, "These are all things to coax children. Uncle Mo, go ahead and do your work. I'll be leaving in a while, so I won't specially bid farewell to you." Mo Xingchen solemnly nodded his head, his heart in turmoil. If Dong Wushang knew about Xiao Wu's misfortune in the clan, would he? Dong Wushang entered Mo Qingwu's small courtyard and spoke to her for a while. Under Mo Qingwu's innocent and puzzled gaze, Dong Wushang moved closer to her small, sparkling ear and whispered, "Don't ever tell anyone about your big brother Chu Yang's appearance. If anyone asks you, no matter who it is, don't tell anyone, okay?" "Why?" In Qingwu blinked her big eyes. "Sigh, you'll bring great danger to your big brother Chu Yang. He might die." Dong Wushang said. "He might die." These few words had thoroughly frightened Mo Qingwu. "I won't tell you." The little lowly fiercely nodded her head with a determined expression. The bow on her head buzzed as she nodded her head. Dong Wushang left. Mo Xingchen thought for a long time and finally decided to look for his daughter to ask about the situation. "Xiao Wu, the person who saved you that day, what did he look like?" Mo Xingchen sat beside Mo Qingwu and asked gently, "He saved you. It's a great kindness. We have to think of a way to repay him." "You forgot." Mo Qingwu blinked her eyes. "Forgot?" Mo Xingchen was startled. "Yes." Mo Qingwu nodded her head vigorously. "I really forgot." Mo Xingchen wanted to ask more, but he saw a deep sense of fear and hatred in his daughter's eyes. He couldn't help but tremble all over, his whole body weak. Such a look of fear and hatred was clearly because she saw him. She looked at her biological father as if she was looking at a life and death enemy. She was still a child. A little girl. Even now, she was only 10 years old. Why did she have to endure so much pain? Mo Xingchen's heart softened as he stretched out his hand, intending to caress his daughter. However, Mo Qingwu's body trembled violently as she looked at her father in alarm. She shrank back a little, avoiding her father's hand. Mo Xingchen's hand stopped in midair. His eyes flashed with pain. Then, he gently retracted his hand and let out a long sigh. How could he not know? The cold treatment these days, compared to before, was like heaven and earth, had already caused an indelible wound to Mo Qingwu's young heart. Mo Xingchen could totally imagine these days would be unforgettable for his daughter. Even her personality would change greatly, and she would never be able to walk out of this pain for the rest of her life. But he could only do so because he was the clan head of the Mo clan. What he considered was forever the interests of the Mo clan as a whole, forever the survival of the Mo clan, and never the kinship of a father. Sitting in this position, he could no longer have any kinship. What Mo Xingchen didn't know was, Mo Qingwu's heart was actually still yearning for her father's caress. She had always longed for that warm embrace. Her retreat just now was only because the recent experiences had made her feel inferior and subconsciously avoided. It was also because of a little girl's peak. But if Mo Xingchen reached out his hand again, Mo Qingwu would definitely throw herself into her father's embrace and cry to her heart's content. She had been longing for this embrace where she could cry for a long time. Even in her dreams, she was being hugged by her father, but when she saw Mo Xingchen's hand stop in the air for a while and retract it, Mo Qingwu was completely in despair. Really, he's not even willing to hug me? After the visits of Mo, Luo Kudi, and Dong Wushang, who could be said to be outsiders, Mo Qingwu could especially feel her father's alienation towards her. Mo Qingwu's beautiful big eyes were filled with a deathly gray of despair. Her delicate red lips also became pale at this moment, without any color. At this moment, she remembered Dong Wushang's words. Because if they know, your brother Chu Yang will most likely die. Sure enough, after brother Wushang left, father came to inquire about brother Chu Yang. He didn't come to see me at all, but to get news about brother Chu Yang from me, to kill him. Mo Qingwu suddenly felt her heart turn into ice. She looked at the person closest to her with hatred. Her heart was only screaming madly, "Why? Why are you so unfair to me?" Why are you so cruel to me? There are already very few people in this world who are willing to treat me well. Why do you still want to hurt my brother Chuyang? Do you want no one in this world to treat me well before you are satisfied? Mo Qingwu lowered her head, not moving at all. Little Wu, go to the room. It's cold outside. Mo Xingchen sighed deeply, lowered his head and said, don't run around. If you have time, learn needlework from your mother. This was the longest sentence he had said to his daughter in a long time. He was not without concern. He had finally given up on getting information from his daughter. Just let his daughter have a beautiful memory. As for the future, let's talk about it in the future. However, his last words made Mo Qingwu even sadder. Learn needlework. I know. Mo Qingwu said in a low voice, extremely disappointed. Then, she slowly turned around and walked into her room step by step. She lowered her head, never lifting it up. Her small figure walked all the way into the room, never turning back. With a smack, a big teardrop fell on the stone steps in front of the door. Then, Mo Qingwu entered her room and gently closed the door behind her. The two doors slowly closed, but it seemed that the door of Mo Qingwu's heart was also completely closed at this moment. She shut her home, shut this world out. From now on, this heart was sealed in ice. Mo Xingchen stared at the closed door in a daze. He suddenly felt a wave of pain in his heart just now, as if he had vaguely felt that he had already lost his daughter. It seemed that once his daughter closed the door, she would never open it again in this lifetime. He shook his head and expelled this absurd emotion from his mind. He smiled bitterly in his heart. How is this possible? She's still a child. She's just a little girl who has just turned 10 years old. Then he turned around and walked out, walking very quickly. Mo Qingwu's dreaming of a gentle dance saber was actually a gift from a big figure. This matter must be discussed with the clan elders immediately. We must not make a strong enemy because of this. We must discuss a foolproof plan with the elders. In case that big figure comes knocking on our door, not only must the clan think of a way to keep the dreaming of a gentle dance saber, it would be best to use Mo Qingwu's relationship to add a powerful alliance to the clan. This was also the only and biggest use of her heart of a woman, right? Mo Xingchen came to the elder pavilion and explained his intentions. When he mentioned Dong Wushang's words, the clan's grand elder Mo Wuxian chuckled. He slanted his eyes and said, just based on this second young Master Dong's one-sided words, you, the clan head of the Mo clan, are shaken? This should not be fake. Mo Xingchen said, from the beginning it can be seen that Xiao Wu must have been saved by an expert. And the dreaming of a gentle dance saber is definitely not something that an ordinary person can take out. That may not be so. Mo Wuxian said, however, we cannot be careless about this matter. We can only wait and see and wait for the arrival of that expert. If we can take it for our own use, it would be a wonderful thing. Before that, should we first hand over the dreaming of a gentle dance saber? Mo Xingchen probed. Just based on this second young Master Dong's few words, you actually want to hand over that peerless treasure saber to a trash without any future? If this is the Dong clan's conspiracy, and their goal is to seize the treasure saber, then what? Mo Wuxian rolled his eyes and said, if that's the case, do you know what the consequences will be? You must know that the Dong clan is also known as the Black Saber clan. They are the true experts in saber use. Chapter 281. When Rui Budong came to the Mo clan, he didn't come alone. Instead, he came with his two masters. Compared to the previous few people, Rui Budong's arrival was the most important to the Mo clan. The previous few people all belonged to the clan. Belonging to the clan meant that they couldn't be poached. But with Rui Budong's identity, they didn't even have to worry about poaching. He and his two masters were free people. They didn't belong to any clan. Such a person with such strength was the dream target of all the clans of the three heavens. Besides, even if they couldn't recruit people like Stealing God and Thieving Ghost, they could still avoid many inexplicable losses if they had a good relationship with them, so the Mo clan showed great enthusiasm towards the arrival of Rui Budong and his master. A few elders and the clan lord personally came out to welcome them, giving them enough face. But when they heard that Rui Badong was here to visit Emo Qingwu, Emo Xingchen and a few elders lost their voices. What was going on? Why was there an endless stream of people coming one after another? Not only was the Emo clan surprised, even Rui Budong's two masters were a little surprised. They had never seen this little brother care about a girl. Why did he have to come to the Emo clan to visit their young miss? Could it be that little Rui has taken a fancy to this girl? So the two elders came with the intention of seeing their disciple's wife. A large group of people went to Emo Qingwu's small courtyard in a grandiose manner. As soon as Emo Qingwu came out, Ji Badong jumped over with a beaming smile and started chatting with Emo Qingwu. The most surprised people weren't the Emo clan people, but the two great thieves who gave the entire three heavens a headache. Stealing God and thieving ghost looked at each other and saw each other's nose crooked. They thought it was a great beauty, but they didn't expect it to be a little girl who hadn't even started to develop. Look at this, it's definitely not a romantic relationship. The two old men who were anxious to hold their grandchildren were stunned. A few elders of the Emo clan sat with Stealing God and Thieving Ghost, watching Shi Badong talk to Emo Qingwu. Emo Qingwu felt uncomfortable and pulled Rui Badong into the room. Just as she stood up, Emo Qingwu's head trembled. A red light flashed and starlight twinkled. Emo Wuxian was immediately stirred up. He stared at the butterfly knot on Emo Qingwu's head and was startled. There was no mistaking it. This exquisite bow was definitely made of red cloud steel and star iron. It was made of the same material as the dreaming of a gentle dance saber. Even a piece of red cloud steel would require the full strength of an emperor-level expert, who could be so extravagant as to make a bow knot out of red cloud steel. It's as thin as a cicada's wing and as light as a feather. It's so intricate and ingenious. Even a monarch-level expert wouldn't be able to do that, right? After Shabu Tong and his disciple left, Emo Wuxian called Emo Qingwu over alone. Little Wu, who gave you the bow on your head? Elder brother Emo gave it to me. Emo Qingwu blinked her eyes, but her voice was very cold. Nonsense. Soul Fighter was furious. Emo? G-Clan? As a family related by marriage, who didn't know what the G-Clan was capable of? How could the G-Clan make such a bow? What kind of joke was this? It's really from where elder brother Emo came to see me last time. Emo Qingwu explained. She was careful, elder brother Emo gave it to me. As for who gave it to me, I won't tell you. It seems you don't want to tell me the truth? Soul Fighter said angrily. It's really, humph. Soul Fighter flicked his sleeves and left. With his status, he couldn't do such a thing to a little girl. But this bow was definitely not from GMO. Everyone in the Mo clan was sure of this. If the G clan really had such an expert, they would have rushed to the upper three heavens long ago. Look, after this courtyard, you don't need to go out as you wish. Do you understand? If anyone comes in, you must report to the clan immediately. Soul Fighter left behind an order and left. Emo Qingwu bit her lips and stood in the courtyard. Tears rolled in her eyes, but she held them back. Humph, are you treating me like a prisoner? Elder brother Chu Yang, quickly come and pick me up. Quickly come and pick me up. I really don't want to stay here any longer. When Gu Du Xing returned to the clan, he saw his adoptive father Gu Yunlan's sad face. His adoptive father used to have black hair, but today, half of it had turned white. The rest of it was also a little white. 2 of his biological sons had died at the same time. For the clan lord of the Gu clan, this was an unbearable blow. Adoptive father, what happened to you? Gu Du Xing cried out in alarm. Du Xing, you're back? It's good that you're back. Gu Yunlan heaved a long sigh. Then he held Gu Du Xing's arm and said, You left home without saying a word a few days ago. Foster father was very worried. So, he sent people to look for you. But there was no news of you. Where did you go? A few days ago, I was in Iron Cloud. Gu Du Xing lowered his head and said hesitantly. I know. You're feeling terrible, but... Gu Yunlan looked at the trees on both sides and said, Your sister Xiao Miao's matter? She harmed the clan's interests. The consequences are serious. You have to understand this. I understand. So I will try my best to become a sword emperor. I will save Sister Xiao Miao. Gu Duxing said firmly. Sword emperor? Gu Yunlan's body shook. He turned his head to look at Gu Duxing. Then, he carefully sized up his own righteousness. It was the righteousness that he valued the most. He couldn't help but be gobsmacked when he saw it. You've become a swordsman. Gu Duxing's body had a cold sharpness. It was like an unsheathed sword. No one in front of him could block his sharpness. This was the unique characteristic of a swordsman. Yes, adoptive father. Gu Duxing said quietly. What grade of sword great master are you now? Gu Yunlan asked anxiously. I'm not a sword great master anymore, adoptive father. Gu Duxing said in a low voice. I'm now 4th grade revered sword artist, the peak. I broke through to 5th grade revered sword artist within half a month. Hiss. Gu Yunlan sucked in a breath of cold air. Gu Duxing left the clan less than a year ago. When he left, he was only a 5th grade sword great master. In just a few months, he had actually advanced by 10 levels. How is this possible? How did you do it? Or, did you eat some kind of treasure? Gu Yunlan asked. There was only one explanation. He ate some kind of spiritual shackle by chance. After digesting the medicine, he advanced to the peak. However, this kind of thing only existed in legends. Could it really happen to Gu Duxing? I didn't eat any kind of treasure. I just met a strange person. Under his guidance, I advanced by leaps and bounds. Gu Duxing said casually. That's only because you're hardworking. However, to rise by 10 levels in a few months, that's too unexpected. Gu Yunlan exclaimed. Looking at Gu Duxing, his face suddenly revealed a bitter and gratified smile. The heavens took pity on me. The heavens didn't destroy my Gu clan after all. Duxing, the Gu clan, will depend on you in the future. Gu Yunlan said sadly. A few days ago, we just finished their funerals. Gu Duxing hesitated for a long time and finally said firmly, Godfather? Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu. I know about them. Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu's deaths. You know about it? Gu Yunlan seemed to not believe his ears. He unconsciously repeated it. Suddenly, he turned his head and looked at Gu Duxing with hawk-like eyes. You know about it? Gu Duxing said seriously. What do you mean? Gu Yunlan's voice was full of coldness. Not long after they were killed, I got the news. Gu Duxing said with difficulty. You didn't kill him? Gu Yunlan exhaled. It's good that you didn't kill him. Although I didn't kill them, it was no different from me killing them. The person who killed them was my brother. Gu Duxing said it all in one breath. The reason he killed them was because of me. Although I didn't know about this matter beforehand, but I didn't want to lie to Godfather. Your brothers. Gu Yunlan's voice was filled with an awe-inspiring murderous aura. When their corpses came back, I was thinking that the Xie clan Xie Dan Qiong had always been calm and steady. Although his reputation wasn't prominent, he was definitely a promising young talent. So, how could he have rashly killed Yen Yang and his brother? Even if it was a love dispute, it shouldn't have happened. So the truth was like this. Who is your brother? Gu Yunlan asked seriously. I can't say. Gu Duxing's expression was conflicted but firm. As long as he did it, no matter what it is, it can be blamed on me. If Godfather is angry, you can kill me. But I would rather die than betray my brother. Good. What a strong sense of brotherhood. Gu Yunlan laughed coldly. Gu Duxing, do you think that you've grown up and your wings have hardened? Plus, Gu Yenyang and the others are already dead. You're the only one left who can inherit the Gu clan head position. Do you think you can be so fearless? Godfather is wise. Chu has never dared to think like this. Gu Duxing's head was originally lowered, but at this moment, he lifted it up and said proudly, I have always believed that a man should dare to bear the consequences of his actions. No matter what lies ahead, since I have done it, I will not regret it. I will bear the consequences. There's nothing that can't be said. Being open and aboveboard is the direction of my sword cultivation. Being straight and not bent is my life's principle. If I hide it now, Godfather may not know for the rest of your life. Because there's no evidence at the scene. Even if it's Xie Dan Qiong, he won't be able to find any evidence to clear his name. But I still have to say it because I don't want to lie to you. Gu Duxing said, if I don't bear the consequences of my brother's actions, who will? So Godfather, no matter what you do, it's what you should do. I have absolutely no complaints. But as for betraying my brother, I would rather die than do that. Chapter 282. Gu Yunlan was silent for a long time. His sharp eyes stared at Gu Duxing for a long time. Finally, he let out a long sigh. Now that things have come to this, I only hope that you and your brother will give me an explanation in the future. Gu Yunlan said somewhat blankly, the two of them are useless, how could I not know? If the Gu clan had fallen into their hands, it would have been destroyed in a few years. But no matter what, they shouldn't have been killed. Gu Duxing was silent. Gu clan, Gu clan? Haha, if not for the foundation of the Gu clan, tens of thousands of people would be watching us eat. Gu Duxing, today I will kill you with my palms. Father, please calm down. Gu Yunlan snorted coldly and sighed deeply. The wrinkles on his face seemed to have deepened a lot. Regarding this matter, I still need to think carefully. Gu Yunlan sighed deeply and walked forward silently. After walking for 70 to 80 feet, he suddenly stopped. Without turning back, he said softly, this matter, don't let anyone know. His father. Gu Duxing watched his father's figure desolately walk away. He could not help but feel his heart ache. This matter, was it wrong? From Gu Yunlan's perspective, from Gu Yunlan's kindness to Gu Duxing, it was wrong. The kindness of raising him was as high as the heavens and as deep as the earth. But his own brother killed his own son. But Gu Duxing admitted his mistake, but did not regret it. Guilt was a certainty. No matter what, Chu Yang did it for himself. Just as Gu Duxing had predicted, after his father passed away, he, Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu would have a battle sooner or later. If he did not die in their hands, they would die in his hands. Life and death, this was a matter destined to happen. But that was a matter for the future. No matter what, his father would not see it. Now that such a situation had occurred, it was hard for the old man to accept. From a certain point of view, Chu Yang had saved the Gu clan by killing Gu Yenyang and his brother, preventing the clan from declining. But this was only an official statement. It could not be used as a reason. Gu Duxing's heart was in pain, very conflicted. But he did not blame Chu Yang. Not only did Chu Yang risk his life, but he also risked breaking off relations with this brother of his to help him kill someone. Even if you blame me for doing it, I will still do it for you. Because I'm your brother. Sooner or later, there will be a battle between you and them. At that time, if you kill them, your conscience will be disturbed for the rest of your life, and it will become an inner demon that hinders your progress. But if I kill him, your conscience will be much less burdened. So even if you blame me, I will still do it. Even if I sever all ties with you, I will still do it. Even if we become enemies because of this, I still want to do it. And the sooner it was done, the better. I only want my brothers. For this reason, I did not hesitate to bear a body of sin. Eternal infamy. So what? Chu Yang didn't say these words. He didn't say a single word. But Gu Duxing could feel it. Therefore, today, he had come to bear this crime for his brother. Even if I didn't know what my brother did, I'll take responsibility for it. Fight to the end. Gu Yunlan had disappeared for 3 days. The Gu clan had remained silent during these 3 days. The troops heading to the Zhonglan battlefront had already packed up and were ready to go. They were only waiting for the clan lord's command. On the 3rd day, Gu Yunlan finally came out. His body was still straight, but his hair was almost completely white. Gu Duxing, you come with me, Gu Yunlan said. Gu Duxing followed him. You take people to the Zhonglan battlefront. Gu Yunlan said in a low voice. But then, he suddenly raised his head and shouted in a low voice, I want you. We will lead the Gu clan to show our might. Take the Gu clan and rush to glory. Take the Gu clan. Rush to the upper three heavens. Can you do it? I can. Gu Duxing quivered and suddenly roared. Go. Foster father, I want to see Sister Xiao Miao. Gu Duxing clearly knew that this request was somewhat inappropriate at this moment, but he still couldn't help but ask. These days of longing had tortured him to the point of collapse. The more he left, the more he thought of Gu Miaoling. Gu Duxing had finally returned to the clan after being deeply worried about it. This was his wish. To see Gu Miaoling. His only wish. Gu Yunlan stared deeply at him for a while. Then he finally said, Go. Come back immediately after you see her. Thank you, foster father. Gu Duxing was overjoyed. Gu Duxing flew away. Gu Yunlan looked at his back for a while. Then he let out a long sigh and muttered, It seems that Duxing really didn't do it. But Duxing, how good would it be if you didn't say anything? Do you know that I would rather fight a muddled war with the Xie clan? Then he took a big step forward and walked to the front of the clan. The flag above his head fluttered in the wind. Gu Yunlan stepped on the high platform and raised his hands. Suddenly, there were thunderous cheers below. Clan Lord! Clan Lord! Everyone be quiet! Gu Yunlan clasped his hands behind his back. His body was ramrod straight. Under the flag, he looked like an unbreakable sharp sword. His eyes were filled with disdain as he said loudly, Today, I will announce something. Everyone, please listen carefully. There was absolute silence below. From today onwards, Gu Duxing is the only successor of the Gu clan. Gu Duxing has full authority to decide this war in the Zhanglan battlefront. Yes. Everyone responded in unison. Anyone who is dissatisfied with, unfavorable to the young clan lord, or even secretly plotting against him is not allowed. Once discovered, they will be expelled from the clan. In serious cases, they will be beheaded without mercy. Everyone, do you hear me clearly? Gu Yunlan said sternly. We hear you clearly. From today onwards, we will only listen to the young clan lord's orders. Long live the clan lord. Compared to Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu, Gu Duxing's prestige in the Gu clan was much higher. Moreover, it was more convincing. Gu Duxing was the publicly acknowledged peerless genius of the Gu clan. Almost everyone was certain that with Gu Duxing's ability, he could definitely lead everyone to glory. After all, following a genius young clan lord or following a mediocre young clan lord, who would have a brighter future? It was obvious. When Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu were in power, although these people did not say anything, they were full of pessimism about the clan's future. Therefore, when the Gu brothers died, besides a few people, almost no one in the Gu clan was sad. There were some who were relieved. These two incompetent bastards were finally dead. Because of the death of the Gu brothers, these people saw hope. Therefore, this time's expedition was filled with high morale. Gu Yunlan waited for the cheers below to die down before saying, Everyone, please wait here for a moment. After the young clan lord comes, we will set off immediately. This answer was even louder and more orderly. Gu Yunlan's heart was filled with bitterness. This kind of situation, when his son Gu Yenyang was alive, had never happened. Not even once. Gu Duxing sped along, passing through the garden and making a few turns. Finally, he arrived at the back of the Gu clan. This was where the dragon prison cave was located. But as he got closer, Gu Duxing's footsteps became slower and slower. In the end, there was even some hesitation, as if he was about to turn around and leave. He was afraid. Gu Duxing had never been afraid of anything. Even if he were to face thousands of enemies alone, he could only face them with an expressionless face. Gu Duxing's courage could be said to be made of iron. But at this moment, when he was about to see Gu Miaoling's pouch, he was afraid, terrified. If Sister Xiao Miao ignores me? If Sister Xiao Miao, will Sister Xiao Miao, what should I say when I see her? Finally, Gu Duxing stopped less than 100 meters away from the dragon prison cave. In front of him was a puddle. It had snowed some time ago, and the accumulated snow had already turned into ice. Gu Duxing came to the side of the puddle. Facing the smooth surface of the ice, he carefully tidied his clothes and combed his hair. Looking at his face, he used all his strength to grab a handful of ice cubes and wipe them on his face. The bone-piercing coldness cleared his mind. Since he was already here, what was there to be afraid of? Gu Duxing steeled his heart and walked over with large strides. "Halt!" the guard shouted. "It's me." Gu Duxing said, "I want to see the young lady." "So it's Duke Duxing." "May I ask if Duke Duxing has the clan lord's written order?" The guard's attitude was much more respectful. Everyone knew that Gu Yenyang and Gu Yenyu were dead. The future clan lord of the Gu clan was Gu Duxing. How could he dare to show his face to the future clan lord? Gu Duxing took out a token and threw it over. "Duke Duxing, please wait for a moment." After the guard saw it, he immediately turned around and went inside to report. Not long after, there was a faint sound from inside. Then, there was a flash of brilliance at the smooth entrance of the cave, and it suddenly became extremely cold. A bone-chilling cold came out from the cave. The ground in front of Gu Duxing was immediately covered in a thick layer of ice. Dragon Prison Cave. This was the amazing part of the Dragon Prison Cave. The temperature inside was absolutely unbearable for ordinary people. The further in one went, the colder it got. In the deepest part, even the rocks would be frozen to pieces. Normally, it was covered by a formation and the cold air couldn't come out. But once it was opened, it would be freezing cold. The faint sound of footsteps reached the entrance and stopped. It seemed that the person inside was doing something. After a long time, a young girl covered in frost walked out from inside. Taking a deep breath, she turned around and looked at Gu Duxing. Smiling, she said, "Little brother, what are you doing here?" Her smile was very bright and beautiful. The frost on her hair had already condensed. With a head full of black hair, she looked like she was 70 or 80 years old. Her face was blue from the cold. Her hands and feet were also somewhat stiff. But even though her hair was frozen stiff, it was still neat and tidy. Her clothes were also neat and tidy. It could be seen that before she came out, she must have dressed up in front of the ice wall for a long time. Only then could she forcefully dress up to this effect. This young girl had already done her best. Gu Duxing looked at her in a daze. His eyes seemed to be fixed on her body. For a long time, he didn't say a word. Chapter 283. No. Sister Xiao Miao is still so beautiful. Gu Duxing excitedly said, "No one can be more beautiful than Sister Xiao Miao." Nonsense. This young girl was precisely Gu Miaoling who had suffered for Gu Duxing. At this moment, after hearing Gu Duxing's words, Gu Miaoling's reaction wasn't one of shyness, but rather a kind of annoyance of a big sister talking nonsense to a little brother. This gentle smile seemed to have dispelled the cold frost on Gu Miaoling's body, causing her blue cheeks to emit an astonishing beauty. Gu Duxing suddenly felt dizzy, the sky and earth spinning, the sun and moon dimming. He looked straight at Gu Miaoling and licked his lips, perplexed, dazed, and unconsciously said, "So beautiful, little bastard." Gu Miaoling finally couldn't stand this lecherous gaze. She bashfully stomped her little feet and angrily looked at Gu Duxing. "I'm your sister. Is this how you talk to your sister?" Gu Duxing opened his mouth. Saliva actually flowed out. He reached out to wipe it and was about to pounce on her. Suddenly, his body crashed into the protective fence and flew out with a bang, his nose bruised and his face swollen. Gu Miaoling giggled tenderly as she watched. It seemed as if all the sufferings that she had endured in this dragon prison cave during this period of time had completely vanished the moment she saw Gu Duxing. "Little fool, if we can get out, elder sister will definitely beat you up for what you said just now." Humph. Gu Duxing jumped up like a carp and angrily stood up. "Smash it! Let me in!" "Young master." The guard pitifully looked at Gu Duxing and then looked at Gu Miaoling and was about to die. "Don't be willful," Gu Miaoling softly said, and then stared blankly at Gu Duxing's robust face. After a long time, she softly asked, "Little brother, during this period of time, have you been well? Little brother, during this period of time, have you been well?" This sentence made Gu Duxing's nose sour, and he almost shed tears. Inside the dragon prison cave, Sister Xiao Miao was still thinking about her own well-being. I'm very well, Gu Duxing hoarsely said. Then, you're not young anymore. Do you have a girl you like? I can ask father to act as a matchmaker for you. Gu Miaoling looked at Gu Duxing. Her eyes were filled with indescribable emotions. She looked at him with some expectation and some fear. If you don't find one soon, it will really be too late. I have a girl I like, but... Gu Duxing said painfully. But what? Gu Miaoling's complexion suddenly turned deathly pale. Her lips started to tremble, and tears started to appear in her eyes. She hastily turned her body sideways. She paused for a moment before turning around. Then she smiled and said, "What's wrong? So Big Sister's little brother actually has a girl he likes?" "Yes, there is." "Who is it?" Gu Miaoling bit her lips as she forced herself to endure Zhang Qing's heart. She then smiled sweetly and said, "Tell me, elder sister will give you some advice. Unfortunately, elder sister won't be able to attend your wedding banquet. She is very, very good. She is very, very good to me. I don't even know how to repay her. I always thought that she was good to me. I was grateful to her and respected her. But I never thought that I like her. I want her to be my wife." Gu Duxing lowered his head in pain, until one day she left. Only then did I know that I like her so much. I can't bear to part with her. I want her. Sister Xiao Miao, I want her to be my wife. Is that okay? Gu Miaoling's body swayed and she almost fell to the ground. Her lips curled into a sad smile, and her eyes were filled with despair. He likes her. He loves her. He wants her to be his wife, Gu Miaoling. At this moment, Gu Miaoling's heart broke into pieces. She even hated herself. Why did she come out today? After being locked in here, there was no hope for her to get out in this lifetime. The only thing that could support her was nothing more than an illusion, an extravagant hope. If she didn't come out, she could still guard the dream in her heart and continue like this, continue to deceive herself. Even if she knew that it was fake, it was still a dream. A beautiful dream. But today, when she knew that Gu Duxing came to see her, she couldn't help but run out in joy. She was afraid that he would see her unsightly appearance. She even tried her best to dress up to make herself look more pleasing to the eye. Only then did she dare to come out. But today, as soon as he walked out, he received such a shocking piece of news. He has a sweetheart. He has a sweetheart. Gu Miaoling smiled sadly. It's time to wake up from this dream. In a daze, she heard Gu Duxing asking her. He seemed to be very nervous and terrified. Sister Xiao Miao, do you think she will agree? Sister Xiao Miao, do you think she will accept me? The current Gu Duxing was still immersed in the memories of the past. He only hated himself. Why didn't he realize Sister Xiao Miao's feelings for him earlier? Why did he wait until Sister Xiao Miao entered the dragon prison cave for him? Suffer 1,000 kinds of pain? Her body is so delicate. How could she bear it? How could she bear it? I'm so stupid, Gu Miaoling fiercely bit her lips. She finally felt her consciousness returning. She tried her best to support herself and not let herself fall. She smiled sadly and said, "She will definitely agree to you. My little brother is so outstanding, so capable, and so handsome. Young and promising. If she doesn't agree, wouldn't it be too unreasonable?" Really? Gu Duxing raised his head in surprise. Be brave and tell the girl you like. Duxing's sister Xiao Miao is very gratified. Gu Miaoling's face was deathly pale. She tottered and said, "You will succeed. Sister Xiao Miao is here. She sincerely wishes you well. Forget it, forget it. When I return, I will die of old age in this dragon prison cave. In this life, I won't dream anymore. I won't dream anymore." Gu Miaoling quietly turned her face. 2 lines of pearl-like tears quietly slid down her face. She resisted the urge to cry out loud. She smiled bitterly and said, "Duxing, girls are very reserved. Even if they like you, they won't say it out loud. If you like someone, you must take the initiative to confess. Once you miss it, you will have nothing left. In a person's life, the best time is only a few years. Don't regret it, don't regret it. Go for it. Go quickly. You will succeed. As she said this, her heart was filled with bitterness and despair. If I wasn't so reserved in the past, if I didn't suppress my feelings in the bottom of my heart, if I didn't tell him earlier, would the ending have been different? If I tell him now, would he? AI, what's the point of thinking about this? He is going to marry a wife, and I will be in this dragon prison cave forever. My life is already over. Why bother to make him sad? Let this secret be buried in my own heart. Sister Xiao Miao. Thank you for agreeing. Gu Duxing excitedly said, I'm too happy. I am going to faint. I agreed? What? Gu Miaoling was still heartbroken. She felt as if her heart was bleeding. Suddenly hearing this sentence, her brain couldn't turn around for a moment. You promised me just now. Gu Duxing threw himself on the railing and shouted, You clearly promised me just now. I promised you, Shintian. Gu Miaoling blankly asked. You promised to be my wife. Gu Duxing was so excited that his face turned red. He jumped up and somersaulted and shouted, You promised to be my wife just now. Gu Miaoling was dumbstruck for a moment. Her pretty eyes opened wide as she looked at Gu Duxing. She then stammered, You don't you have a girl you love? That's right. I already have a girl I love. Gu Duxing happily said, But my beloved girl is you, Sister Xiao Miao. Could it be that there is someone else? How could there be someone else? Gu Duxing looked at Gu Miaoling in puzzlement. He didn't understand why Sister Xiao Miao would say this. Could it be that I, Gu Duxing, will fall in love with someone else in this generation? This is really a joke. Gu Miaoling looked at him flabbergasted. For a long time, she didn't speak. Suddenly, 2 lines of hot tears flowed from her eyes. Then she suddenly stopped on the ground and burst into tears. Her cries were tragic. They spread far and wide. But Gu Miaoling didn't seem to care. She didn't care about her own appearance. She just cried herself hoarse. Tears rolled down her body and clothes. The cold and hot stimulated, and a faint white mist rose. She cried with such sadness and with such devotion. It was as if 1,000 grievances were vented in this burst of crying. It was as if all kinds of despair had melted in this burst of crying. But it quickly transformed into an even greater despair and bitterness. It made her sad from the heart. She finally got what she had been dreaming of, this relationship. This sentence, how many times in the middle of the night? It was the biggest spiritual pillar that supported her and comforted her to live on. Every time she imagined this scene, Gu Miaoling wouldn't feel cold, nor would she feel uncomfortable. Her heart was filled with love. But now, she fiercely hated herself. Why did I have to get it? I shouldn't have. I shouldn't have. She was still mourning and pitying herself. But now, she was already filled with intense regret. A woman's heart is such a contradiction. She was unwilling. The person she loved deeply for so many years had thrown himself into someone else's arms. If it really happened, Gu Miaoling would lose all interest in life. But once she got it, she regretted. She was punished to be imprisoned in the dragon prison cave for an eternity. If Gu Duxing stubbornly likes me, then wouldn't I be harming him for a lifetime? He is still young. He shouldn't be lonely for life. Chapter 284. But besides you, I don't like anyone else. Gu Duxing said with certainty and anxiousness, I went out some time ago to the lower 3 heavens. There were many beauties there, but none of them could compare to Sister Xiao Miao. I couldn't even bear to look at them. You don't know, but GMO and Luo Kadi were staring at them. I just couldn't bear to look. In order to confess his love, Gu Duxing betrayed his 2 brothers without blinking an eye, and ruthlessly trampled them under his feet. But I can't. Gu Miaoling wiped her tears with all her might. Even though she was in a sorrowful mood, Gu Duxing's words almost made her smile through her tears. She said gently, Little brother, you must know that husband and wife are only called husband and wife when they are together. I'm in here now and I can't get out for the rest of my life. Don't be silly. She gently stopped Gu Duxing from speaking and said softly, "Little brother, Sister Xiao Miao is very touched by your feelings. You know, from today onwards, I won't be afraid of this dragon prison cave anymore. But you can't continue to be silly like this. My little brother, find a gentle and lovely girl, and let her accompany you through life's trials and tribulations. Never leave, never abandon, and grow old together. That's what husband and wife are like. Quickly go back. Don't stay here anymore. Don't be silly." Gu Miaoling looked at Gu Duxing with deep affection. She gazed at him for a long time, tears welling up in her eyes, but the corners of her mouth surged with a gentle and satisfied smile. "With these words of yours, Sister Xiao Miao's life is not in vain." "No!" Gu Duxing shouted. "Isn't it just an emperor-level expert? Sister Xiao Miao. Wait for me, I will reach emperor level within 2 years. I swear. I swear on the souls of my ancestors." "You dare!" Gu Miaoling said sternly. "You dare to continue. I will die here right now in front of you." Gu Duxing stopped and looked at Gu Miaoling. He suddenly smiled and said, "Sister Xiao Miao, if you die here right now, then we can immediately become husband and wife." The meaning of these words made Gu Miaoling's whole body tremble. She rushed over like a madwoman and threw herself on the railing, screaming hysterically, "You're not allowed. I forbid it." Gu Duxing reached his hand through the railing and gently but firmly embraced Gu Miaoling's ice-cold body. Gu Miaoling's body trembled, and her face suddenly flushed red. "Sister Xiao Miao, look, when you entered here, I was only a 3rd-grade sword great master. But now, I'm already a 5th-grade sword exalt. Within half a year, I will definitely become a sword king. Do you trust me?" Gu Duxing asked in a low voice. "5th-grade revered sword artist?" Gu Miaoling looked at Gu Duxing in a daze. "Really?" "Of course it's real," Gu Duxing said proudly. "Furthermore, I definitely didn't take any shortcuts. Every step was done by myself." Then he moved his mouth close to Gu Miaoling's ear and whispered, "I met a strange person. He taught me a set of methods that could allow me to advance quickly. Well, no one else knows about this matter." In order to make Gu Miaoling feel at ease, Gu Duxing made up a story out of goodwill. "Really?" Gu Miaoling looked at him with sparkling eyes. "Of course it's real, or I swear." Gu Duxing raised his hand. "Don't." Gu Miaoling hurriedly stopped him and gently said, "I trust you." Gu Duxing smiled contentedly. Although there was still a cold and indestructible railing in front of them, the two felt incomparably warm and happy at this moment. "Oh right, that strange person later became my boss. He gave me something good and asked me to give it to you." Gu Duxing wanted to reach into his bosom to take out the item, but he was unwilling to let go of Gu Miaoling. He could only use an extremely strange posture to take out the item. Then, as if he was presenting a treasure, he stuffed a jade box into Gu Miaoling's hands and quickly hugged her again. "What is this?" Gu Miaoling lowered her tender neck and played with the small jade box. "Don't open it first. Open it after we enter." Gu Duxing whispered, "This is a flame essence." Gu Miaoling was shocked. Flame essence was a rare treasure in the world. As long as it was worn on the body, no matter how cold it was, it would not feel cold at all. This was what Gu Miaoling needed the most right now. This was a piece of flame essence that Chu Yang had saved after almost falling out with the sword spirit. There was almost nothing left of such a precious item. If it was absorbed by the calamity sword, perhaps not even a scrap would be left. The entire treasury of the Great Zhao Empire, which had been accumulated for hundreds of years, only had such a fist-sized piece in the palace. Now, it was all given to Gu Duxing. "There is also this." Gu Duxing took out a jade bottle from his bosom. "What is this?" Gu Miaoling was so happy that she could not speak. "Vitality spring water." Gu Duxing said, "This is also given to you by my boss. You should drink it now. This is a good thing. I heard that after drinking it, it can increase your vitality. Even if you are injured in the future, it will not leave a scar." Gu Duxing introduced the vitality spring water without stopping, and his eyebrows were dancing. Gu Miaoling, as the daughter of the Gu clan master, How could she not know about the Vitality Spring water? But she did not say a word. She only looked at Gu Duxing gently, and carefully listened to her beloved man's long-winded introduction to her. She understood that since Gu Duxing had such thoughts, how much effort must he have put in during this period of time? How much suffering must he have gone through? Just over half a year. From 3rd grade sword great master to 5th grade revered sword master. Most people were surprised by Gu Duxing's progress and praised Gu Dunyan's genius. But Gu Miaoling's first thought was, in such a short time, he had advanced so much. How much inhumane training must he have gone through? Thinking of this, Gu Miaoling could not help but feel heartache. Silly, don't work too hard with this. Gu Miaoling pinched the box of flame essence and said softly, I can wait in there for a few more years. It is okay. Gu Duxing said firmly, it is my sin to let you stay in there for 2 more hours. Okay, you should go now, right? Gu Miaoling gently let go of him. It seems that someone is coming to rush you. Gu Duxing looked back and saw an elder of the clan walking towards them quickly. His face sank, and he gritted his teeth and said hatefully, this bunch of old bastards, don't say that. Gu Miaoling shook her head. Are doing this for our own clan. It is also our home. Sigh. Gu Duxing looked up and sighed. I am going in. Gu Miaoling said softly. Her eyes were like water as she looked at him deeply. You have to take care, little brother. You are still calling me little brother. Gu Duxing was anxious. If not little brother, what should I call you? Gu Miaoling's eyebrows arched. She snorted and said, I did not promise you. Gu Duxing was anxious. Sister Xiao Miao, you can't go back on your words? I didn't go back on my words. Gu Miaoling softly looked at him and softly said, Elder Sister Xiao Miao is here, she can't run away. But, if you find a girl you like outside, you must not wrong yourself for Elder Sister Xiao Miao's sake. Go ahead and pursue her. Even if I come out, I don't know when it will be. Don't waste your great youth. Other than Sister Xiao Miao, I don't want anyone else. Gu Duxing's voice was trembling. There are many good girls in the world. In this heavenly realm, there are at least hundreds of thousands of beauties. Don't tell me I want all of them? Gu Miaoling giggled and said, you're an idiot. Even if you want, they have to be willing, right? After she finished speaking, she faced Gu Duxing and slowly retreated. Her pair of beautiful eyes looked at Gu Duxing's face. She was reluctant to look away. The elder who had rushed over shouted from afar, Young clan lord, everyone is waiting for you. When this sentence was shouted, even the guard who was hiding at the side rolled his eyes in dissatisfaction. This old thing, are you in a hurry to hold a funeral? Such a touching scene. Can't you see that the elders are crying? I know. Gu Duxing turned his head and replied unhappily. When he turned his head, Gu Miaoling had already entered the dragon prison cave. Gu Duxing looked at her in a daze. After a long time, he suddenly shouted, Sister Xiao Miao, wait for me. I will definitely take you as my wife. Inside the dragon prison cave, Gu Miaoling moaned. She felt her face heat up and her body go soft. This little sweetheart. The cold air in the cave attacked again. Gu Miaoling shivered. She took out the jade box and opened it. Immediately, a wave of heat rose up. Her whole body felt warm and comfortable. She kept this fire essence crystal close to her body. She felt that this cave was like a stove in the cold winter. She did not feel cold at all. This kind of gentle warmth only protected him and the 3 feet around him. The rest of his body was still as cold as ever. However, this kind of treatment was already a far cry from the one just now. At least one person could stay in this temperature. Gu Miaoling reached out and stroked the fire essence crystal in her arms. Her face revealed a bright and beautiful smile. Duxing, I will wait for you. Even if you don't want me to wait. I will still wait even if you don't want me to wait. Then she sat down quietly. Ever since Gu Miaoling had entered this place, every day felt like a year. But today, she felt that her heart had a glimmer of hope and calmed down. No matter what I do, there's still an infatuated person waiting for me outside. I cannot fall down. Du Xing, I will not disappoint you. Then Gu Miaoling sat down and meditated. Du Xing is working hard. I also have to work hard to help him. Du Xing turned and walked out. He bowed to the guard and said, Brother, please take good care of her for me. His two sword-like eyebrows suddenly rose up. He said, I will not treat you unfairly. That guard was flattered. He hurriedly waved his hand. Young Clan Master, what are you saying? Young Miss has not suffered any grievances in here. You can rest assured. Many thanks. Du Xing cupped his hands. His body suddenly shot out. Like a sword, he pierced straight into the sky. For this love I will charge. You're tuning in to the Han Li's Immortal Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.